Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. Yes, right. We're here for another week of the podcast, talking all the latest in the world of sports entertainment. I'm here as I am each and every week with co-host Calvin Thomas, Justin B.A. the Barber Harris. What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing
Hey,
tonight?
yo, feeling great.
What's going on with you? Another Tuesday night?
Another Tuesday night. Glad to be back at our regular time slot. We appreciate y'all being flexible with us. Last week and jumping to Wednesday. If you missed that show, be sure to go back into the archives. It was a pretty good one. We talked about a lot of great topics, and we're going to follow up because we talked about going into the NBA All-Star break last week, and the All-Star weekend did take place this past weekend in Oakland, California. The Steph Curry was basically the host of the weekend. A lot of Warriors were in tow. A couple of them made some headlines, so we're going to talk about that tonight. Also, we got some NBA, some NFL, and then we're going to talk a little bit of pro wrestling tonight. We're going to talk some WWE. It is WrestleMania season.
WrestleMania.
That's right. So we're going to get into a little bit of that as well. So should be an interesting night. NFL season is in the books, but we're going to talk a little bit of free agency. Tonight was today. Franchise tags are now open, so teams are declaring who they would like to put the tag on starting the day. We heard one interesting one that we'll talk about a little bit in a little while, but let's start with the NBA because the NBA All-Star break was always one of the highlights of the season. Growing up as a fan of this game, we all have fond memories of years past and some of those slam dunk competitions, the three-point competition, the skills competition, when you put the partners together from different teams and they do the obstacle course. But really the highlight of the weekend was always that slam dunk competition. And then on Sunday, you get to see the game, which was the combination of all the stars. And this was always a big deal, especially back in the 90s, I want to say, because if you didn't have cable, you probably only got to see certain teams on the weekends on NBC Sunday afternoon double triple header. Sometimes you get the Knicks and the Bulls and the Pacers and the Lakers, the Heat. You get those big teams, but you didn't get to see all the different stars from down around the country. So the All-Star game was kind of a combination of the best of the best, and it was like a who's who. But now we got the NBA packages, we got multiple primetime games, multiple nights a week. If you want to see the stars, they on social media. They're kind of out in the front. You got ESPN showing highlights every day and talking about the game and tearing apart, who's good, who's not. It's just a different type of news cycle. So I just think we as fans, we have fond memories of what we grew up on, and we always are going to compare. I think for our age range, we grew up in the golden age. I don't care what nobody say. Like we had a little bit of that 80s, that 90s, and the 2000s. We got all of it. Like and we at the height of our fandom, that 90s 2000 period was just like you got it all. So comparing that to today's game is always going to be a fool's errand, in my opinion, because we've seen it and we're always going to remember what made you fall in love with the game. So spinning that ahead, looking at this year's All-Star game was never going to be what we wanted to be. They changed the format. They turned it into a game against the rookies and the rising
Rising
stars.
stars.
I mean, it is what it is. Calvin, did you watch it? Did you enjoy it? What was your thoughts on the actual format and the game itself?
I watched very little. It's probably the least I've watched an All Star game in forever. Wasn't excited about the format. Wasn't excited about giving rookies and sophomores who didn't earn it the potential spotlight on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. When that's when you're supposed to see your main stars. When you're supposed to see the best game, the best in the world play their game. So I really wasn't very interested and really paid very little attention to it on Sunday. I kind of went in and out. But I do agree with you. We did see the best of All Star Weekend, in my opinion. I think we saw the best game in 2020 or '03. Jordan's last game. We both remember those both very fondly. I think we saw the best slam dunk competition in 2016 between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. I think we saw the best of the best at their peak, and we're struggling to get back to that point for a number of reasons, which we can go into. Um, but somehow, we've got to get back to the allure of the All-Star game, seeing the best of the best play 48 minutes on Sunday, that fourth quarter where it's just everyone wants to lock you down, everyone wants to score, everyone wants to be that All-Star MVP, where it meant something to be All-Star MVP because you were the best that weekend against the very best in your league. So we got to get back to that point, but wasn't very interested. Even in LeBron's tags, I'm a big LeBron guy.
We're going to talk about that. Hold on.
Those
We'll talk.
tactics kind of rubbed me the
Calvin,
wrong way as well.
We'll
So,
talk about that.
yeah, but that's my initial thoughts.
Justin.
It was an All-Star weekend this past weekend.
It's always Valentine's Day weekend.
Couldn't tell. Lackluster, uninspiring. You had people even trying to cheat some of the games. Shout out to San Antonio. That didn't help.
CP3 shot.
Oh man, what a guy!
It lacks a lot, man, and it's tough to find the answers to how to fix it. But at the end of the day, it's a player's thing more than anything else. Adam can tweak it as much as he wants to. This was a failed attempt, but it was an attempt nonetheless. We can't knock him for trying different stuff, right? Like, people said it wasn't going to work, but he tried it. The only other thing that you could probably get away with is us against the world, Olympic style. But how far does that go? How do you divvy up the teams? Because it's not going to be the same 24. You're going to have to add extra people to go to the All-Star game that probably don't deserve it. That's from foreign countries other than the United States. So it gets iffy like that when it comes to stats and historical rankings and things. But at the end of the day, something's got to be done. This is even with blowouts in the past. I mean, I looked through some of the historical games, and let's say 1992, I took that one for instance. That was 153 to like 113. It was a complete blowout based off the West. But you remember that game if you look at the highlights of that game, because that's the game that Magic Johnson won MVP when he came back or whatever the case. And he was challenging Isaiah Thomas. He was challenging Michael Jordan. And he was putting buckets on him. Deep three-pointers like it was nothing. Like it was just like he shot that his whole career. So even in a blowout, he still the player still made it memorable. Mm-hmm. And it's been blowouts since then, and it's just not as memorable. It's just they don't take those times to be one-on-one, like I'm going to try to embarrass you and try to stop me. So it leaves a lot to be desired. Shout out to the women's game. I know that this 3-on-3 league is a thing. They've been going through some things. They just had a 1-on-1 tournament in which one of the favorites got completely destroyed 12-0. But it does that help? Maybe. Kyrie Irving even said he's down for a 1-on-1 tournament, which he has a great shot at winning. But it might be something like that, whereas though individual pride is more important than the team pride that we're dealing with now. So Adam got some things to do. We got some things to really look at. It just did not help everything. This did not help the marketing of the game. This did not help the ratings decline that they're on now. They keep signing these TV deals, so they're getting paid. So it's like I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see no issues, but there's issues nonetheless. So it's interesting.
I really think when you think about All-Star game, it needs to be the best versus the best. But I just think as far as being voted as an All-Star or being selected to the All-Star team can still be kept as a award. You know what I mean? As an honor. You got voted to be an All-Star. You got voted or selected to be a reserve on the All-Star team. But I do think there's a way to select a team, and then as far as the game on that weekend, do a United States versus the world. It doesn't have to necessarily be like the All-Star players can be there that are surrounding the court, maybe sit there, get good seats, and do all the festivities surrounding the weekend and all that kind of stuff. Partake, but the actual game can be the best. Let's say how many players? Do 10, maybe 8, 9.
Mm.
9. You can find 9 great international players to fill out a roster. I think you can do it easily. Maybe we do that as an exercise. You could do 9 great American born and do it us versus them. And anybody who didn't make that top 9 for that country or whatever for that they still be labeled as an all-star. You just don't play on the game. What you think about that, Justin?
So you can have that type of scenario. So you have your 24 selected, right? That's I think that it's 24.
Yeah.
And then I guess you can choose out those 24, and then whoever else could be nominations, maybe a coach's poll or whatever the case may be. Just the next crop after that to fill in the slots of those that don't want to compete in it. That is something that you can possibly get away with. I guess on your resume you can say you appeared at All-Star Weekend. That doesn't necessarily make you an All-Star. Like, I'm not trying to see R.J. Barrett say that he was a goddamn All-Star. That's all I'm saying. He can say he participated.
I think it could be two different things. I think you can
treat it
like the Olympic team. You know what I mean? Like the Olympic team is selected by the committee. Create a committee to put the best team on the court to represent the world. The committee create the best team.
So I feel like me and Larry at least are on the same page with it, Calvin. I think that you
can't take away the fan vote, my opinion.
I feel like you're against the whole idea of it.
I'm not against it. I think it's only a temporary fix, kind of like the selecting of the All-Star teams by the captains. It's not a permanent fix. And I think selecting non-international players, you're going to leave out American players that deserve to be on the All-Star team and deserve to get their recognition as well, if not selected by the fans. That's selected by the coaches.
That's simply not what I just said.
But no. You said you can select 12 and you can still have them get an All-Star honor. Doesn't mean they get a chance to play.
Let's take this year for an example. The 24 that got selected to the All-Star game, they have it on their resume. Like Giannis, even though Giannis didn't participate, he's still an All-Star. So he has that note, that nod on your resume, or your So boom, set aside. I still have those. I'm going to start with those, and then those that don't want to do it, then we have a selection committee to fill in slots with the deservingly great volunteers, not necessarily the 6th, 7th, 8th man off the bench, but legit starters that will love the opportunity to probably showcase their talents that might not have made it this year.
And it's one game. I think pride alone will make Giannis, Yoke, Wemby, Luka. Man, they could put a squad together, and then that's going to make the Americans step up and be like, okay, we got to take this serious. Like KD, LeBron, Steph, if they want to go, the older guard want to go one more run, you have those older guards with some young guns. Yeah, it's going to be somebody left off. We know that. That's just it is what it is. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Star power. I think that's what's going to make this thing worth it. Because now the problem with All-Star game is it's turned into a 3-point thing. A jacking up threes for no.
That's the league right now. It's not just the All-Star game.
It don't get to that degree in a game, though, where they just come down, just start jacking them up for no reason, just for fun. We need this to be competitive. That's the thing. I think these guys like Giannis, they're going to the cup. They're going to be trying to dunk the basketball. They ain't worried about let me see if I can hit it from half court this time. No, we need to get this thing back to being competitive. Anyway,
yeah, it's not so case in point, let's say that you had 2 bubble people, right? Let's say Devin Booker is a bubble all-star. I mean, he could be a perennial all-star, but let's say this year he was a bubble because he didn't make it. Let's also say a person like Norman Powell was also that's what people were saying that should have took the king spot. So you have these 2 guys. Let's say Devin Booker feels insulted, like, yo, y'all don't put me for the All-Star game, but y'all want me to do this game that you're coming up with. Okay, thank you for saying no. Norman Powell, would you want the opportunity? I'm quite sure someone like him who doesn't get the shine or fame to actually showcase his talents on a world stage like that, he will probably sign up for that. So hopefully he can get other deals internationally from this type of situation. So it does bring a lucrative bonus to those that doesn't get the normal shine in which they they deserve that they require.
So Calvin, you're saying your fear is they don't have enough international players to fill out to be real all-stars? Is that what you're saying?
I said initially I didn't say that. My first point was it's a solution, but it's a temporary solution, like we had with the selection of the teams. It still won't solve the problem, in my opinion, long term. You'll have a couple years in which this may work, but then in 3 or 4 years, we're going to be back to this point where we're talking about the All-Star game and what's wrong with All-Star Weekend again. I don't think it's a permanent solution. That's what I'm saying.
What do you mean in a couple years? Because the stars won't be there any longer?
Well, we don't have the next American star, the next American it guy. That's part of the equation in the long term. But I think it's more than that. They've already set the significance of All-Star Weekend, and it's kind of settled in over the last 5 or 10 years as to where this is what it is. It's not even a glorified pickup game. It's just we're going to shoot open threes. We're going to show up. We're going to give the fans All-Star Saturday. We're going to show up, do autographs, and then Sunday we're going to go through the motions. Until you change that, it doesn't change All-Star. It doesn't change All-Star Weekend as a whole. So you have to fix that, in my opinion. I think this is a temporary solution. You can say it works. It may work for a year. It may work for 2 years. But in a year in which Jokic doesn't want to play or Giannis is injured or something like that, and you lose the significance of that star power, how do you regain that in an international versus USA game? And you can say the same. But if it's the top 24, you can pick additional all-stars that I think that can replace to a certain degree because they're fan favorites in that team. If it's not a Giannis or a Luka or a Jokic or a Shea, is there any other significant international players that will draw attention to the game in the U.S.? That's part of the issue as well.
So you're battling that versus the fact that we just went through the Olympics and we actually provided coverage. Shout out to the show on a
different though. We're not comparing Olympic gold medals to an All-Star game MVP.
It's a place where the All-Stars play against other international stars. Mm-hmm. And that always is a draw. The reason why we don't like FIBA basketball because we don't send our best to play in FIBA basketball. It's always like the second tier guys. That's why we had Jalen Brunson, shout out to my New York boys, and Josh Hart on the team. That's not the squad that we're looking for to send overseas. So if you compare that to the Olympics where we had our stars, which they was actually captivating going against other stars, we was all glued into it. You know, when Steph went off against the teams that he went off to close the games out, that was crazy. So can you imagine if Anthony Edwards had that kind of a one-game performance or whatever the case?
I think your lack of faith is in the players that's coming up. And I think that the league is going to keep going. I mean, this is not the end of the NBA because LeBron's going to retire or Giannis is going to get old at some point. There's going to be who knew that SGA was going to emerge or who knew that, you know what I mean? Like these different players. There's going to be a new crop of players. You have to feature them.
This is great. What we're saying right now is I'm actually getting slightly entertained from this conversation, like even more so. Like, can you imagine if you lose this type of a game and the reporters? So how does it feel to keep coming up short against the world? How does it feel to be second best? If you keep hearing that
they're going to say, look at the Olympics. What happened in the Olympics?
You can't keep passing that off. You can't keep. What you going to say? Well, look at the Olympics every time.
It was 5 months ago.
They're going to say. This is sports. What have you done for me lately?
Game.
That's what we're talking about.
So would you rather win an Olympic gold medal
look at the hockey is doing that right now. They got the best four. They got the Canada, USA,
and it brought a whole different light to that sport.
And it's going crazy right now. They get
where is that tournament being held?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I ain't following that close, but I know it's going crazy. You know what I mean? Ratings wise, I follow ratings and people are glued in, in the United States. This ain't in Canada. We're talking about the USA. So again, I think patriotism is still a thing in this country. And when you can attach some type of personal pride, like, hey, you representing our country or your hood, at some point you got to do something different. And what they doing right now, this little change thing,
trash.
Is stupid. Like, who cares if you playing for Charles Barkley or Shaq or that was no personal attachment to those teams. Or before, when you was East versus West, at least you were playing for your conference or whatever like that. There is no I hate that. I just rather they go back to the old format before they go to all this other stuff. Just go east-west and throw the basketball up in the air and play basketball. But I do like USA versus the world.
We can go through this we can run through this real quick. The international talent alone, right? We trying to get a team of 10. That way, everybody playing a small amount of minutes, nothing crazy, and we got subs, nothing, like I said, nothing crazy. You got Jokic, that's 1. You got Giannis, 2. Luka, 3. Shea, 4. Joel Embiid, 5. I know he played for USA.
I was curious, did he just play for Team USA?
We're saying outside the United States. That's where you were born at. That's not what you necessarily represent. Where you were born outside the United
Kyrie
States.
talking about playing for
Australia.
Australia, so it's not like
6. Victor Wembanyama. 7. Sabonis, high quality player. 8. Another All-Star, Siakam. 9. The boy Sengun from Houston, another All-Star. 10, Frank Wagner, which was having an all-star season before he got hurt. 11, Jamal Murray, which is trying to get an all-star spot. He can never get it based off the talent that's above him.
One so he could play for the international
He's
team.
not getting a spot. He's getting an opportunity to play.
Gotcha.
He's not on the original team.
That's why I say.
So he's not on the original team, but he's going to play in the all-star game. To fulfill
it's not the all-star game.
It's
the U.S. versus the world.
So it's not even an all-star game anymore. So we're just adding this game to all-star weekend. So we're bringing in players that aren't all-stars
100%
to play on this team.
Yes.
And the all-stars that may have been selected by the fans won't go because they're not one of the top 12.
Agreed.
Okay.
100%. Because they just did the same thing yesterday or Sunday where they had the rising stars who were not voted in. And guess what? They went out there and
every player that was voted in played on Sunday on one of those 3 teams.
And some of them only played for like 10 minutes.
He just made a point. Okay. The rising stars were not. They're not all stars at all.
They should have been there. I said they should have been there.
But they were there, so they already showed you credit that they can do it if they feel like doing it.
Exactly.
They can invite whoever they want to play.
Adjust whatever. Clearly, they felt like they needed to throw a spark in there. I think it would drive more interest.
I don't want to lose to these young guys. It wasn't even competition. It wasn't even competitive.
So if you just said the sport was I don't want to lose to these young guys. Exactly. You don't think the same type of competitive spot would be I don't want to lose to the foreigners?
It was competitive.
It wasn't the first game against the
No, that was the second game. The second game was the Rising Stars. It was close.
It wasn't the game was that was a game with Steph, right?
The second game. It was close.
That game was competitive.
Candace Parker was coaching.
Okay, when they were up 9 and they scored 4 straight before they decided to lose. When Kevin Durant was fouled, they let the foul go to extend the game. That was competitive.
I don't know what you're talking about, but you say you ain't watch it. I watched it. It was competitive.
You didn't watch those plays?
I'm telling you, the game wasn't that bad. Okay. It wasn't bad. What I'm saying is, you would take more personal pride. And for you fighting for your country, like we see in the Olympics all the time. Like, look, they ain't talking about go out and you carry the Ukraine or you go carry. We're talking about the best of the best from all of the world who play in the NBA on one team versus the best of the best from the U.S. I think that's a draw. I really do. Because as Justin just rattled off those names, you don't think that they could put a squad together and go out there and be competitive? You don't think so?
He named like 6 centers, but besides that, we'll be competitive maybe for a quarter.
Okay. I named like 6 centers. You're right. Remember back in the West when they was like top heavy? You had Garnett, Shaq, Tim Duncan, Chris Webber.
Dominated every year.
So what? We were still watching, right? We never said, "Yo, it is what it is." That's what we said.
All of them, they were smoking.
You're literally. I don't agree with let's vote for 10. One of the guys that was second in his position group doesn't make it, so we're going to pick this other guy to play in this one game that's just during All-Star weekend. But he's still an All-Star. Like, what the hell am I voting for? Then I'm voting for someone to be an All-Star but not participate in the game on the weekend.
Yeah,
during your All-Star when you showcase your product.
100%.
Okay.
I just said that. I didn't stutter. I said you voting for people to be recognized as all-stars, but clearly everybody don't need. How many all-stars actually get in the game and get significant minutes? We know it used to be, they give them a couple plays here and there, but when it came down to crunch time, you knew who was going to be in the game. LeBron, the stars were in the game. So what are we talking about? This ain't new. This is not new. This is not new. What are you talking about? Like that was always.
I'm talking about we're picking all-stars, but then the all-stars that we pick aren't playing in the game. That's what I'm talking about.
I
not even showing up
said
to the weekend.
you can select 9 times out of 10. Justin just rattled off these names of great players who probably couldn't very well be all-stars on many seasons, right?
Those people. It says more that Sabonis, as great as he is, has never been an all-star because of
Sabonis
the
was an
position group that he
before.
plays in. Okay, he's a one-time all-star, whatever the case may be. That he plays in that position group, and it's tough. Or that Jamal Murray has never been an all-star because he plays in the West and he has a number of guards ahead of him. I think it says more than just saying, "Hey, you're not an all-star, but let's come play this pickup game with me so I can try to showcase you and showcase the game, even though you're not worthy of being an all-star because you're not good enough to be these other 4 players ahead of you."
Trae Young was not an all-star. He was not selected. And if Giannis was healthy, he would not have played in this game. Trae Young statistically damn near leads the league in points and assists. So you can still be an all-star.
How many guards in the East are better than Trae Young in your opinion?
Not that many.
Maxey, Brunson.
I'll argue Maxey off top.
They don't even vote off of positions. What are you talking about? They just put people in.
They are just guards and forwards.
So okay, there's not 5 positions. Like here's your shooting guards. Here are your point guards. Here's your small forwards. Here's your power forwards.
Guards and forwards.
The games has
we have a conversation. So if that's the case, then Giannis replacing Trae Young shouldn't matter because one plays forward, one plays a guard. You're in different positions.
That's the point.
That's why I brought it up.
But I'm just saying they changed the game so much. He was acting like we still going by traditional standards of how the All-Star game is
how you vote for the All-Star game. That's what I'm going by.
So then why did Trae replace Giannis and not another?
It was commissioner's pick because he picked him.
So they can do what they want.
So he could do whatever he wants.
Exactly.
The commissioner can do what he wants.
You're talking like the sanctity of the All-Star game.
I'm not talking about the sanctity of the All-Star game because Trae Young has been an All-Star 2-3 times before. He didn't make it as a selection this year, not by the fans and not by the coaches, because they deemed as though they were better point guards than him so far this year. And the commissioner selected him for whatever reason to replace Giannis.
I think you're being closed-minded. I think they've tried to mess with this game so much and made so many tweaks to the game that I don't think it's far-fetched to say, hey, let's try USA versus the world. And this is the best time to do it. I really think it would not be an issue with the fans being able to vote the starting 5 for the East. I mean, for the All-Star, for the American-born, the top 5 for the foreigners or the non-Americans, where the world, whatever you want to call them. And then the rest of them be filled out by a committee that say these are the best players to fill out the rest of the team. Now, if you want to say somebody else had worthy numbers of being an all-star and they don't fit this category, well, guess what? You weren't good enough to meet the team.
So why don't y'all just make a decision? Let's go get every team that was in the Olympics, take the best 4, and then just put them in All-Star Weekend. That way you can do a true everyone versus the world. You don't have to do this the world versus USA. You can do this country, and this country
right now.
And that way you can do a true USA versus the world. You can get to see all this talent that's not here.
NBA talent.
No. You're showcasing the USA versus the world. So let's get the world.
Go get people who are from the different places in the world.
It's not play in the NBA anymore. We're just putting people there. So let's go get their teammates and showcase them.
You sound foolish right now.
You sound stupid. You don't sound foolish. You just been stupid for no reason.
We just handing out all-star appearances to everyone.
You sound like
everyone deserves to get showcased on this weekend. Come on.
Conservative.
Stay off my lawn, guy. Come on, man.
Yeah, voted for Trump. I see it. Man, where your hat at? Put your hat on. Make America great again over here. Get out of here, man.
Terrible ideas.
That's an excellent idea, and you just stubborn. You sound like this idiot right here, Draymond Green.
I speak the truth.
He ain't speak no truth. Anyway, I don't agree. I mean, I agree with what he was saying, but to get up here and blatantly talk like it's crap, it's stupid. Draymond, and many people have said it all week. Yes, but what have you done to make this game better? How many times have you been an all-star? How many times have you upped your game to go out there and say, I want to be competitive enough to make the all-star game great? No, you don't even get voted in. Clearly, fans are not a fan of the style of basketball that you present. So he goes out there and trash, say this is trash. They weren't voted All-Stars. Would you rather put Draymond on the All-Star team, Calvin, than some of the players that we saw out there on Sunday? Is that part of the problem?
It'd been more entertaining.
To do what? Choke somebody out?
Set a couple screens. I don't know.
He had been jacking threes like everybody else.
Exactly. Talking all that trash. He talked all that trash like he's some tough guy. That's just his fake mantra. Justin, what was your thoughts on what Draymond said? I mean, I didn't disagree with it myself, but go ahead.
Where's the lie?
I didn't say lie. No, this was something different. We're going to talk about that in a minute. He was in the middle of the All-Star game. He was a paid commentator on the game, and they asked him about what he thought about the first half. He said he was trash. This is a disgrace. They shouldn't even be allowed to be on the court. They're not even All-Stars.
The first game wasn't the first half, right?
The Rising Stars, and it was the second game. It was
so. Did he offer anything of improvement?
No, that's the point.
Then he should have shut the hell up then.
Exactly. Calvin, what was your thoughts?
It was the truth. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to say that publicly on the showcasing your product, but it was the truth. And I think we all agree with that.
And this is why the NBA is in the state it's in.
No, but he's trying to be the new age Charles Barkley.
That's all it is.
When Barkley does it, it's okay. Or when Shaq does it, it's okay. We've had this conversation about the older guys kind of down in the newer generation. It's okay. But now with it being someone from the newer generation, you can't talk about your peers like that. It's okay if it's an older player doing it, but you can't talk about your peers like that. I don't agree you should have said it publicly, but we all agree with it's true.
I don't like it because if Charles say that, he played in a different era. He played in a different era where that's how they played. That's how they saw things. Draymond
Shaq is from this era, though. Technically,
Shaq doesn't talk. He sometimes defend the newer era. He don't always go in like that. He go in at big men, and while the state of the big men has declined, he don't like that. And many people agree with him, myself included. The problem I have with Draymond specifically is he plays with who? Who did he gain most of his titles with? Playing with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. All his titles, you're right. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who are the most three-point shooting team of all time, who this team can be argued as one of the teams that changed the way this league is played, along with Don Nelson when he used to coach Golden State, along with Mike D'Antoni and those coaches like that, where they just have turned the game into how many threes can you get up? Steph shooting from half court, from three, and that's what the fans have been wooed by. And it's lulled people into it was great at first, but now it's become a trend where everybody's shooting like that. So for him, of all people, who has benefited from this new age way of playing the game, where all they do is jack up a bunch of threes and stuff like that, they undersized. They don't even have a real center on the Golden State Warriors right now. He'd be playing center sometimes. What are we talking about here? You were part of the problem and benefited from the problem. What's your thoughts on that, Justin?
He got selected to 4 All-Star games, and I can't remember him doing anything in all those 4 games. Even if you didn't do anything, like let's say Shaq. Shaq knows that he couldn't dominate the game like he wanted to during the All-Star game, right? He knows that. He played decently hard, but he couldn't be the Diesel like that. But he was always entertaining, doing something crazy.
Dribbling the ball between his legs.
Dribbled the ball between Dwight Howard and it came back and dunked it or whatever. He was just always doing something to entertain people to go along with the fact that hopefully we get this W on top of it. Draymond Green, that's why I said the first thing I said was, what did he offer to help? So you've been in it 4 years. Your last All-Star appearance was 2022, so that wasn't that long ago. It was similar type of effort then too, although that was a pretty good game. But at the end of the day, it wasn't because of him.
5 years though, so well.
So my thing is just I expect him at his position to say, this game stinks. We need to do A, B, and C, and then I would respect that far more than I just I quickly just read some of the things. He basically just commented negatively and left it at that. I don't want to
Ripped
hear
him.
that. I don't want to hear that.
Ripped him.
That doesn't do anything for me or the league.
Yeah, I agree, and I think most of his comments were directed at some of the younger players, which also doesn't help grow the game. When
Exactly.
you're on your way out of the league and you have the younger generation, the rising
It's almost
stars, the
like
rookies and
bullying.
sophomores, you need to pick them up. You need to be a big brother to them to help. That could be your way of growing the game, of continuing of improving the game to an extent. So I don't like how it was directed immediately at them and kind of just saying they don't deserve to be here when they are a part of All-Star Weekend as well. They kick off All-Star Weekend in most cases. They deserve to be here. They deserve to kind of bask in that ambience, kind of be around the guys, kind of see what it's like to be a professional, see what it's like to do these things for the fans. So they need to be there, need to be upbeat about it. So just taking shots at them and their performance, saying they don't deserve to be here, is not growing the game. So while I think his comments were correct, the way he went about it was incorrect, and the way it was directed specifically to one team or two teams, that the rookies and the sophomores, that's incorrect as well. You either talk about everyone as a whole or no one at all. It's got to be one or the other.
My problem is, as an athlete, as someone, an ambassador of the game, you have a responsibility not just to your team, but to the league, to be an ambassador and a spokesman for the league, especially if some broadcast is going to hire you to go on a set and go up there and speak on All-Star Weekend. You're not talking about X's and O's. Yeah, you can be as harsh as you want to be about somebody who's not showing effort, somebody who didn't run a play, who's not running plays like they're supposed to, somebody who's doing something on the court that's not right. I don't care. Go have at it. It's fine. But when you're talking about just something that the game is trying to do to promote the game, I think you owe it to not just, you're an active player. You're not a retired player. You're an active player talking about your peers and talking about the next generation that's going to help to continue to move the game forward. I do think you have a responsibility to be an ambassador of the game. And I also think this is the problem why a lot of these narratives are created, and you see these message boards or these comments on social media, and the fans start regurgitating, well, Draymond said it, or Charles said it, or Shaq said it, and it validates these opinions, and then that's how the game starts to fall to where they's falling, where people only want to watch for LeBron or Steph or these established guys they've been saying for years and years and years, and they don't give the chances to some of the young guys because all they keep hearing is, oh, these young boys don't know how to play, da da da. It's not progressing or helping to promote the game. You have a responsibility.
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
You will never hear people talk like this, at least to this degree, as blatant as that, with David Stern.
You think Adam Silver allows it?
A little too soft, man. Balls. So when you carry the league like that, and you have this type of I'm a player's guy and all these other things, well, they feel probably vindicated to say how they want to feel without any repercussions whatsoever. People just didn't do this with Stern. I know it was a different social media era, different stuff, but Draymond Green was commentating. Mm-hmm. He was there commentating. I don't remember no sound bites like that from people that was commentating on the game. Back on the 90s.
Chuck actually did do spots on TNT in the latter parts of his career, and he said some controversial things, but it was on cable TV. Nobody really saw it like that, and TNT wasn't that big of a platform back then when Chuck first got on Inside the NBA with Kenny and EJ back in the day. But I agree with the premise of what you're saying. But let people on ESPN say that. Let fans say these things. Let us, like you say, you keep saying, yeah, what he said might be true, but that's not what you're supposed to say. That's what the people on the outside are supposed to say, not the people who are paid by the NBA to be ambassadors of the league. I just think that's dumb. I think it would be much like Tom Brady or Tony Romo get up there in the middle of a football game talking about, oh, these guys just don't know how to play. Oh, man, they just...
To that extent, Tom Brady has talked about the quarterback play in the league as well. But it wasn't as a
broadcaster.
It was on a panel in a different environment. So
exactly. It's a time and a place. He got his little podcast. If he want to give his opinions on there, I don't like that either. I don't like when Michael Parsons does it. I don't like when some of these players have these active things and they taking shots at their coworkers, disrespecting Dak Prescott and all this other stuff. I don't like none of that. But that's on them to have better PR skills to know there's a time and a place, and you shouldn't say everything you think. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Other comment that Draymond made, he said today's game is boring. He said that he don't like the way the game is played today. It's boring. And Oscar Robertson, the big O, one of the best, greatest basketball players of all time, he replied. I mean, he had a lengthy reply. He said it might be boring to him because he's not passing because if he's not passing the ball to Steph Curry, what is he doing? And he kind of went at Draymond pretty hard, too. Had a lot of problems. He said he tired of him running his mouth. Yickety, yickety. Did anybody hear what the big O said? And what was your thoughts on it, Calvin?
I mean, I heard part of it, and then I went back and read the key points from the big O. I mean, I don't know if he's defending the game or he just tired of Draymond talking, because I've heard the big O kind of go with some of the newer players in this league, in this era as well. So I'm not sure, what he was really accomplishing besides going back at Draymond. And that seems to be, I don't necessarily disagree with him, but I don't know how this grows the game as well. You can't have this bickering publicly. Now, granted, you're going back at him, you're defending your guy, you're defending your sport. It's perfectly fine, but all this needs to be handled internally. It should have never gotten out from Draymond. The Big O's response was what was necessary and what he deemed as a appropriate response to what Draymond said. And you can make an argument that Big O has done more for the game than Draymond has, even to this extent. So his opinion is valid and is there, but
way more.
It's just, we don't need this bickering if you're trying to grow the game. That's all I got.
I agree with that part. I just think finally somebody said something up against this guy, was my opinion. So I didn't mind what
somebody from within the game.
Yeah, and I think he trying to took a shot, talk about like Draymond not no good player, nothing like that. We all know Draymond is way back more than just scoring or anything like that. But we talking about Oscar Robertson, who was passing, scoring, assists. He did everything, like rebounding. So if anybody has the ability the credibility to say something like this, he's one of those guys. So what's your thoughts, Justin?
That last line is all you needed to say. He was one of the pioneers of the game, put the game on his back. So saying something against him was like saying something against Jerry West. Oh yeah, I forgot JJ Redick did that. That didn't go too well for him, right? He had to deal with that plumber. He still deal with that plumbers and all the fireman comment that he made, that the league was just nothing but those kind of players.
Now you took that.
He still deal with it, and he had to apologize for it.
It's stupid conversation to begin with.
The fact that he brought it up versus a legend is what's the problem. And you don't.
The only problem I had was that everyone acted like he was talking about Jerry West. He wasn't talking about Jerry West. That's the problem.
Jerry West took offense to it. That's all. So what?
Okay, I don't want to get off topic, but if I talk about the players of the 90s and saying they weren't as good as the players of today, that's a fact. So that's my opinion. But I can base it off facts, looking at stats, looking at things like that. So if it was true that they didn't make as much money and they had to do other jobs, what the hell was the problem with saying that? That was my only problem. I didn't get it. They took it literally, like he was talking about Jerry West, some of the other greats, but
the way he said it, it made it look like it was a lack of competition, a lack of skill. And
it was
during that era, that was whatever the era presented. Whatever the era presented is what the era presented. If that was the skill set, that was the skill set. They was probably even working even harder. The fact that they was able to play a game and then instead of just sitting home and chilling, no, they had to ask something else to do. So
they wasn't getting better.
It's a bad PR. It's a bad PR hit regardless. It's a bad PR. That's why he got hit for it. You saw the outcry.
But people took it the wrong way. That's the only thing I didn't like about it. Like, you mad because
the masses don't take things.
You couldn't get better because you had to go to work. What's the problem with saying that? It's the truth.
The masses are going to take it how you give it. It's just it is what it is.
We
don't care about your individual thought process. We care about how it looks towards the masses.
You don't care about the facts. The facts of that generation. I agree. They don't.
It is what it is, right? So that's why Draymond probably won't say. He probably will say something, but it won't be anything like that. He probably say, "I respect his opinion," so on and so forth. Probably throw a small shot, but just keep it
a no-win situation for him.
Yeah, Draymond said He said that today's NBA lacks a certain level of gamesmanship and cherishes
But he's a
matchups
part of
against
this NBA.
he cherishes matchups against Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James because of his basketball IQ. And a lot of people aren't that smart and is boring. Big O said, Draymond says so much. Who cares what Draymond says? It doesn't mean anything. One guy can say this, one guy can say that. People either like this game or they don't. I think people enjoy the game, especially if their team can win. It might be boring to him because if he doesn't pass the ball to Steph Curry, what is he doing? Not to single that out because I know he knows how to play basketball, but he's passing that ball to Curry more than anyone I've ever seen in basketball. It might be boring to him at times because that's all he's doing. It might be boring. When he's out there, he's not shooting a lot. He's not guarding a lot. It is boring. I mean, I think that's a stretch. He is a defender, but yeah, he's not much.
So, okay, you say he's a defender. Before we can move on, if we argue that there's way more offense now than it is ever before, or at least it feels like the game is lacking the physicality and the defensive mindset that a lot of players used to have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're exiting that out the game and that's what he does the best, then literally you're killing the game in which I love. I don't love it anymore because I can't excel by doing what I do. That's like a back to the basket big man. The game is boring. Why? Not because I can't shoot. It's because what I wanted to do, they're literally phasing it out the game of basketball. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. Let's keep it moving. Next up, LeBron James did not take part in All-Star Weekend this past weekend. He was a late scratch. Apparently, he was still nursing that ankle injury that he had right before the All-Star break. And a lot of people had some strong opinions about LeBron not informing the league that he wouldn't be there and waiting too long so they couldn't find him a suitable replacement. Adam Silver came out apparently and said that he didn't find out until the last minute either, so he didn't have enough time to get another person to play. A lot of people have been very critical of LeBron, his decision. Justin, what's your thoughts on his opinion?
LeBron James' thought process. It shows you how great of a star he is versus Anthony Edwards. I'll say that. I want to make that clear because Anthony Edwards did not play as well.
Giannis
said something, so we knew that, right? Anthony Edwards was sick. He didn't get a replacement. So both of these dudes to me are in the same boat. You know, I understand if you wake up one morning and now I'm early and stuff. I hope that's the case. Well, I really don't hope he had to go through that, but I'm saying I hope that that's the scenario for him because it gives a little bit more credence versus what I'm listening to from LeBron James. LeBron James, who are you? That type of maneuver, that type of the goal to say pretty much I waited until game time. Like, can't give it a go, guys. When, like I said, when I brought him up before, Norman Powell was a person that was balling for the Clippers that would have probably got that spot right behind, as in one of the first or second alternates. He's not probably going to get another All-Star opportunity. This is his 1 year. We all go through the seasons where it's like that one guy that 1 year made it to the All-Star game. Like, hey, at least I'm an All-Star. Brad Miller made it to the All-Star game back in the day. Like, all right, that was probably his one time, and you just took that away because you didn't feel like it. You wasn't up to it, whatever the case may be. Your ankle was bothering you. Bro, you only was going to play like 5 minutes anyway, which we were saying that when we was picking the teams. We was laughing. I think, Larry, you picked him. I said, man, he only going to play like 5 minutes anyway. So the fact that he couldn't suit up for 5 minutes, the fact that he took somebody's spot where you had the same injury coming into the All-Star weekend, Thursday, Friday. Hell, if you would have told Norman Powell, I need you to come out there because he's probably living in L.A., so it wouldn't be like it's a long travel for him to get to San Francisco. It was in San Fran, right? Yeah, Barry Bonds was there. It was in San Fran. So I'm like, he would have hopped on a train or whatever to get there to play in the All-Star game. So I have issue with it. I think that for the one of the rare times he probably, it makes it seem like he thinks he's above the game of basketball. Like this game won't continue without you. We continue without Jordan. Is we at a certain point we're gonna bring your name up, but we will continue to bring up other people right along with you. It You're not bigger than the game itself, and I have issues with that.
Yeah, look, I agree. Probably on everything but the Norm Powell thing. Like, I'm not watching the All Star game to see Norm Powell. Nothing against him. He can take his one All Star selection and let that be, as far as I'm concerned. But I do agree that
Hey, yo, you're a bona fide hater, yo. I think something is wrong. You've been hating this whole goddamn on podcast today. I
look, I didn't heard the Norm Powell argument. I'm like, I agree. LeBron took away the opportunity from someone else, but the best y'all got is Norm Powell. It's not a shot at Norm Powell. It's just like,
no, it was a severe shot. You sniped him.
But I agree with everything you said. To wait till the last minute to show up All-Star Sunday just to do a press conference to say I'm not playing, and then go sit behind the bench of your team that won. It's, in my opinion, it's a direct shot. We talked about Adam Silver a little bit earlier. It's a direct shot at Adam Silver. Something's going on, and this was LeBron's response. And I completely disagree with how you did it, because more than affecting Adam Silver, it affects the game, it affects the fans, it affects All-Star Weekend. And you made All-Star Weekend try to be about yourself when it's about growing the game, it's about coming together, it's about providing a game to which everyone can see the greatest players in the world on one court, in this case, in one evening at the same time. And we now have to talk about this because you decided to wait until the last minute, the very last minute, not to play. It's okay if you're injured and you don't play, but you had from last Wednesday, I believe, was their last game, to Sunday to make that decision. Even if you were on the fence, you could have easily told the league and they could have had a replacement possible, and you could have still gone through, or even not showed up at that point because you weren't going to play, but you could have gone through your media obligations, showing up to shoot around, photo ops, whatever other,
just like Giannis did.
Whatever else you had to do. What Giannis and it was there on Saturday too, right? Correct. He was around Saturday. Yeah. I didn't know he wouldn't show up Sunday, but so this was a direct shot of Adam Silver, and I think like you have to respond to this. I'm not saying like verbally, but if you want to talk, if you want to say that you're disappointed, if you want to suspend him, I don't care what you do, but you have to take a stance because this was disrespect towards the game, in my opinion. So I don't think this is something that you have to respond to, because this was a direct shot at your league, at your fans, in my opinion.
This is the most ridiculous take I've ever heard in my life. The man is 40. How old is he?
No one has a problem with him not playing. I don't think.
No. I didn't say nothing yet. I just asked you, how old was the man?
40.
What year is he in?
20-something.
Oh, 20-something. So more than 20. Like,
so you're saying he's bigger in the game. So you're saying he's bigger in the game then?
I'm saying if the man ankle wasn't feeling right before game time, he told him, hey, I ain't playing.
But it's even more than that, in my opinion, because it's the fact that you didn't even show up until Sunday. If this happened on Friday or Saturday when you were walking around and shoot around, I don't have a problem with that. But the fact that you showed up to say I'm not playing on Sunday, I have a problem with that.
Did he come to the game?
Yes.
Did he go to the media opportunity? Did he speak to the media? Did he do photo ops? Did he go sit in the crowd and support and shake hands and sign autographs and do everything he would have done regardless? He just didn't go out there at 40 years old and 22 years in and go put a basketball in the hoop. Get over it. Like, I think this has been the most overblown. Like, I think you just now earlier made a big fuss about people's spots going to get took because they weren't voted. Well, he was the most voted person by everybody in the league. So clearly the fans adore LeBron James. He's 40 years old. It's over. Okay, he's got maybe a year left. Move on. The man
seem to think that we have a problem with him not playing, or that I have a problem with him not playing. I never say anything about that.
Have we ever known LeBron James?
That's a fact.
Have we ever known LeBron James to not want the opportunity to go out there and show that he's still the best star there is or compete in an all-star game? Have we ever seen this? I haven't seen it. So why are we
He's been
just
shaky some years.
What year? Tell me the year.
He hasn't given the best effort every year.
I don't recall it.
Look, you can make the argument that the reason the All-Star game has started to decline is because of the play led by him the last 4 or 5 years. You can
What has
also
he
make
done?
that argument.
They changed the format years ago.
They changed the format to
Team LeBron versus Team KD. Like they use his name to even try to sell the game even more. What do you mean?
My point is the play at the All-Star game play specifically. That's what I mentioned.
So you think LeBron's been out there jacking up all the threes?
Outside of 2020, name the last memorable All-Star game.
2022.
I don't think that's memorable. Why is it memorable?
It was a good game. It was fun.
Why?
I enjoyed it.
Why? Why was it memorable? What stood out about it?
Because they played basketball. It's just like saying, what was the last good basketball you see?
What stood out about it?
They put the ball in the hoop.
So my point being, nothing stood out about that game. That's my point exactly.
What is supposed to stand out about an All-Star game other than the one team won and one team lost?
In 2020, we could point to the Elam ending and how that last 24 points were scored, those teams going back and forth. In 2003, we could talk about Jordan shot over Sean Murray and then Kobe going into
you talking about because that was Jordan.
No, we could talk about specific points in All-Star games. That's my point.
So what happened in 2007?
What happened
in 2008?
2020.
What happened in 1996?
You can't name anything. You can't name anything. What's the point? You can't name anything.
Like, what are we talking about here?
You can't name anything.
So you just, out of all those, I just say, 2000 was a good game. Like, wait, what are we talking about? It's an All-Star game. Like, the man is in year 22. 22. He's 40 years old. I think they should be fine with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Where was Giannis? Where was Anthony Edwards? Where injuries happened. Like, the man was injured. Are we gonna question if he was injured or not? Or maybe he tried to give it a go. Maybe he tried to give it a go and it just didn't work out on Sunday. Maybe he said
he was already having the injury. He thought that, hey, overnight, in his words, hopefully I feel better in the morning, and he did not.
Well, he tried and it didn't work out. What's the big
it's basically a no call, no show. Most people get fired.
So he's not supposed to get injured. I get it now. All right, it makes sense.
No one said anything about it.
I'm not belaboring this point. He's not supposed to. You're supposed to be.
He ain't labored this game,
LeBron. LeBron, if you know you hurt on Friday, just don't even try. Just turn it in. Yeah,
that's exactly what you should have done.
I don't think so. Yeah. Why? Because it's so sacred to make sure that everybody knows.
Because of Friday, his reason. He said that I got to bucking down for this playoff push or whatever his excuse was. You knew you had a playoff push Thursday. You knew that you was in the same position on Friday. You knew you was in the same position on Saturday. I was hoping it would feel a lot better this morning, but it was not there where I wanted it to be. I was hoping it would feel a lot better this morning, but it was not where I wanted it to be. 22-year veteran skipped Saturday's ceremonial practice and media availability, keeping the same routine he's kept for All-Star Weekend the past 2 seasons, with the NBA granting him a reprieve after his 2 decades of service. That's exactly what the quote is. The 22-year veteran skipped Saturday's ceremonial practice and media availability, keeping the same routine he kept for All-Star Weekend the past 2 seasons, with the NBA granting him the reprieve after 2 decades of service. Great. I don't care about none of that. He said, I hope it feels
I hope they will feel better this morning.
He said a lot better. He put a gauge on it. He didn't say a little bit better. I can go out there. No, he said a lot, which means he was a lot from playing. Which means you knew that you
30 games left and us trying to make a playoff.
Get a lot better overnight.
I felt like it was very important
like that.
to take care of myself
a little bit better
and understand what's coming up down the stretch. I think that's intelligent of a person that's trying to win and not just coast into a retirement.
He knew that Thursday.
Again, I'm not mad at him. Shout out to LeBron. 22 years of service. Keep playing, baby. Because they keep using your name to sell tickets. It worked. They sold their tickets. Had they known that LeBron wasn't there, less people probably even would have tuned in. I mean, it is what it is. He sells the game. You call it what you want. It just is what it is.
Turn it up. It is what it is.
Anthony Edwards, and they probably sure did. They probably did turn it up once he wasn't there, but at least you suckered him into thinking he was there for long as possible. Anthony Edwards was a no-show as well. But he was also asked about being the future face of the league. You know, that face like LeBron. And he said he don't want to be nobody's face of the league. He said that, that's not what he is. That's for somebody else to be. Maybe Luka, somebody could be the face. He don't want to be the face of the league. What's your thoughts on Anthony Edwards' comments? Do you think they were someone running from the pressure? Is that somebody who just doesn't want to be seen as that next guy? What's your thoughts? Start with you, Calvin.
This seems to be a little different than his comments during the Netflix special. I don't know if y'all had a chance to check that out yet. The going for the goal, whatever it was called, when they were sitting there talking to Obama, he kind of made it seem like I'm next, I'm it. So I don't know where these comments are coming from. I don't know if it's just the frustration of the season. I don't know if it's just seeing how. I know he also made a comment. He thought the next face of the NBA was going to be an international player. I think he said Wemby, to be specific. I don't remember who he actually said. So I don't know if he feels as though that's the case and that they will get pushed. I don't know if he knows all the responsibilities from it. But, it's something that I hope he reconsiders. I think he has a chance to be that person. Just seems like the leap that he took last season. But I'm not sure necessarily where these comments come from. And if I'm Minnesota or if I'm, the NBA, I'm kind of concerned because he was one of the people that I was hoping to want to take this mantle, this throne, but within the next couple of years, once KD and Steph and LeBron kind of leave. So I'm not sure where it's coming from. I would be concerned, but he's still a great player. But I just gotta understand where his head's at right now.
This is easy. When is that? When was that special done? Do you know?
It was filmed during the Olympics, so I'll say August.
Okay. He's looking at the West. He's looking at his team, and clearly he's not where he wants to be at. Clearly, if I say that I am the next person, I'm him. Yes. Clearly, if he says that, hey, I'm that guy, put me on that pedestal, then just like we did for LeBron and others in the past, we're gonna take thousands of shots at the throne. And if you're not in a position where as though you think that your team is the best, I don't think he wants to take those shots because he can't defend himself right now. He's a king without armor. So I think that's honestly the reason why he said that. Is it cowardly? Yeah, you can say that because you can't make one statement. You can't say one statement and then within a certain amount of months you flip that or whatever, and based off the same sport. So I do hold him to that. He is one of the faces that we're trying to do that. We're trying to make him that guy. He seems to want to be that guy when he's actually playing, based off his interactions and things like that. But I just think that in that situation, especially when he couldn't even play during the All-Star weekend, I think that's how he felt. I think it was more out of frustration more than anything else.
So let me get this straight. He's supposed to be one of the next faces of the league, according to other people's opinion. Because I thought when we name somebody the next face of the league, that don't have nothing to do whether you want to be the face of the league. That's according to other people's opinions. That's according to what other people see in you, or they make you because you're a superstar. I don't think nobody says, I'm the next face of the league, and then they just snap your finger, you're the face of the league. Well, I just think this whole premise is silly to me. Do you understand where I'm coming from, Justin?
I agree, because he didn't have a say in it during last year's playoffs, in which once you start getting the coverage like that, hey, this is who you're starting to look like. You're starting to look like a younger Jordan, so on and so forth. And then next thing you know, he it. And I'm quite sure he remembers all that. And like I said, he's just not in the position to back that up. But I mean, I can't say that I can recall footage of LeBron James saying like I'm him or whatever, but that is a thing that people say, like, yo, I am that guy. Like, y'all, if y'all not watching me, y'all need to be watching me. There's an amount of cockiness that comes with that, an amount of confidence that comes with that. And he's just looking like a person that's just not as confident as he used to be.
I just got a problem with, like, so shying away from.
It's a setup question though. It's a setup question.
It's he can't answer. It's hard for him to answer it correctly because if he answers it definite, then they're gonna take it the wrong way. So
You're gonna take it as he cocky.
yeah.
Oh, that's the problem I had with that is LeBron came right out of high school and they were saying he was the chosen one. It wasn't like he had this option to wait till he had a good team to say, now I'm the next guy. No, LeBron came from high school to
Did he not have
Cleveland
that tatted on his back?
and was the chosen one. I'm not saying he didn't, but my point
I don't know when. It was around that time because
He kind of labeled himself that. You know what? You about to cross over to Skip Bayless territory. Not necessarily you being the hater of LeBron James, but the fact that that's what Skip had an issue with LeBron is the fact that he had chosen on his back. He had
I have no problem with it.
His nickname was King James. Like, who are you?
No problem
you didn't win nothing to be king yet. So that's why I said LeBron is a different cat way. So he's pretty much proclaiming that since he came into the league, and he, to some people's opinion, lived up to it. That's all.
No, I'm responding to the point you made. The point you made, well, he sees that he's not going to have the team to live up to the team's success in the West because he's seeing the Western Conference. Well, LeBron went to the Cleveland Cavaliers and was playing.
It didn't matter for him.
So that's my point. If you're that guy,
with each other, you're that guy, right?
You're
that guy. You're that guy, and that's why I said he's it's a bit cowardly the way he's backtracking a little bit. I did say that. Like it's
agreed, and that's my point. I think he ain't got to say it; his actions will show it. And if you're going to have to say it with your mouth,
at that point.
That's my point. That's my point. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't think LeBron could say he was the chosen one all you want, but if he didn't go out there and average 27 points a game, it's 27, 7, and 7. You remember the stat line forever, and play defense and was flying up and down the court like a gazelle every night. And people were like, oh, Cleveland went to LeBron went to 10 straight finals. I mean, whether he won or lost, he went to 10 of them. So I mean, that set a precedent for him being the face of the league because he was featured in front of more people every year because he was always getting to the finals. I don't know who else can say that for Jokic or who's going to be that guy. Jason Tatum going to go to 5 or 6 finals in a row and be the face of the league. I really don't even know in this era. Steph Curry is a face. Is he the face of the league? I don't know. And again, it's just weird to me how these labels get thrown around. I don't know. Let's talk about the slam dunk competition. Did you all get a chance to take a look at it on Saturday night? Even if you didn't watch it live, did you see the highlights? Justin, what was your thoughts?
I saw the highlights. Guys, I have issues, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've seen this one picture, and it'll tie in probably if you go through the 3-point joint. Somebody had said, Black History Month.
Yeah.
Mac and then Tyler wanted a 3-pointer, and I'm like, yo, what are we doing? Like we letting these Christian McCaffreys come through and take over the running back position, but they not really that. I mean, Tyler made the All-Star team, but this dude don't even play. He don't even play
3 years in a row.
There's nobody in the G League better than this dude Duncan. I mean, I know he was. Look, to Mac's credit, he's been doing this out of high school, like not taking anything away from him.
This is the Super Bowl. This is what he studied for all year.
It's that time, right? He's like Mariah Carey during Christmas time. It's time to warm things up. You feel me? So it is what it is for him. But I just have an issue with us. Like, come on, we got to have better. Where's the great Black hope at? You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm asking for. Where our guys is at, man? I just maybe this is an indictment to Ja. I know you just put that up there. Maybe this is an indictment to Anthony. Though these cats legitly have 40+ inch verticals. Like I've seen it. They can jump out the gym with ease. And they need to take advantage of this opportunity before you can't do it anymore. Like it got to a certain point where we just couldn't expect that from LeBron James because we know he just couldn't do it anymore like that. Not to this degree.
Is that where it started though?
Oh yeah, it's 100% his fault.
Okay.
But it's just you can't keep saying no. You can't keep
Yeah,
saying no to dunks,
yeah.
man. You
I
ain't even
agree.
gotta do the greatest dunk. We're gonna cheer
Yeah.
because it's you. It's a
I think
superstar that makes the dunk.
there was a point in time where if you were the most athletic wing, you had to do the dunk competition. I'm not gonna say you were the best wing, but you were the most athletic wing, specifically shooting guard. You had to do slam dunk competition, and it's gotten to a point where now no one wants to do it. I don't know if it's the creativity. Everyone feels as though every dunk has been done. But I mean, I go back to 9 years ago. It seemed like a long time, but the Levine Gordon that one in Toronto in 2016 that stands out in your memory forever because that's arguably one of the greatest performances from two individuals. You could argue Vince had the best performance in 2000. I think going back and forth between Levine and Gordon, that was one of the greatest competitions of slam dunk that I was able to physically see. I don't remember Wilkins and Jordan. I don't remember that. That was when I was young, but I remember seeing Gordon and Levine very vividly. I can watch that competition, just them going back and forth. And at this point, I don't know if people are scared, they don't want to lose, or if they just feel as though they can't do anything more creativity wise. But we got to get back to where your best, most athletic wings are doing slam dunk competition, and it's got to be during All-Star Weekend. I'm nothing against Matt McClung; he's won 3 years in a row, but it says a lot that you don't have anyone in the league that can win this competition.
Yeah, I really think it does have to do with lack of creativity, lack of having faith that you can come up with something different, because at this point, everything has been done. Like, so at some point, people just want to see the stars dunk. They don't care about how creative is the dunk. Maybe they can recreate some old dunks that were already done before. So I think it was easier to do this competition when you didn't see all this stuff before. Like Jordan jumping from the free throw line. If somebody go and jump from the free throw line now, is that special? I think somebody do it every year, don't they? Like, that's not oohing and ahhing. Even these dunks, we've seen. What was that? Blake Griffin jump over a car before.
10
Yeah,
years
like
ago.
it happened
15,
before.
15 years ago. Shoot.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what is there new? Like, he won because he jumped over somebody's head. How many times have we seen somebody do exactly what this guy just did? Like somebody sit in a chair, somebody get on somebody's shoulder. We've seen it. But that was the best of this particular year's crop of talent, and he won. So would someone still go crazy if Giannis went out there and did a dunk from the free throw line, maybe, and did a reverse, or I don't know what he would have to do to be considered great. I thought Dwight Howard is the biggest example of someone stepping outside of their comfort zone, who was uncharacteristic. You wouldn't expect a center to go in the dunk contest and utilize his creativity to win. And I thought Dwight Howard was a good representative of the game. And that, to me, was when LeBron should have stepped up, because it was, if a big guy like Dwight Howard can do it, I don't want to hear about I'm too big, or I'm not the lanky guard, or da da da. No, if Dwight Howard can do it, if Blake Griffin can do it, LeBron should have did it. And I think it did set a precedent where the rest of the superstars, Kevin Durant's here, we haven't seen no big time. Anthony Edwards has never been in a dunk contest, have we? We haven't seen a SGA or no guards of this modern era has gone in there with any name recognition. And that all started when LeBron did that. So again, I mean, people say, well, Melo didn't do it either. But is Melo a dunker? I don't think so. LeBron's a dunker. We know he's a dunker. So he set the precedent. So it is on him.
So the funny thing is, real quick, I know you about to end it. LeBron did a high school dunk contest.
Yeah.
Mind you, it was in Ohio, but he still did it. And his dunks wasn't the most creative. He threw it between his legs, came off the bat, and the crowd went crazy. Like it's you. It's you doing the
the charisma.
That's it.
I agree with that, because I think he's a great in-game dunker.
In-game dunker, we know.
But when you're put on the spot, like the creativity just isn't there. But I agree, they will cheer because it's you. Now, this would have been early LeBron, first 3 or 4 years, I think.
05?
But yeah,
crazy.
Because it's you.
We can't forget the reason why is because it's footage of him doing pretty legit dunks
in practice
in the warm-up lines. That's what it is.
In
the All-Star game.
In high school games. In the warm-up
just
lines.
do that. Just do that. Yeah. and get a 47.
People say it's his failure.
But we gotta only other thing I'll say, next year this comes around. We can't. I don't. And Matt McClung's in it again. Whoever, if Ja gets in, if Giannis gets in, even though I don't think Giannis will do it with me, but if Ja gets in, you can't take a shot at Ja if you lose to Matt McClung, in my opinion. That's the only thing I'll say.
No, I ain't gonna take
Why can't you? At least you put the effort. Yeah.
No, I say you can't take a shot at him. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah. You put the effort for it. I commend anybody. I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't even watch this contest. I saw the clips. You know what I mean? Like, part of the problem I had with All-Star Saturday Night is
because you had no anticipation. You had no what's the word I'm looking for?
I didn't know who was in it. Yeah.
You didn't care. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. When you had superstars there, I guarantee you, if Ja and let's say Zion, let's say if he's healthy, let's say we doing the dunk contest, like we're in it, you would have made sure Saturday night, hey man, I gotta tune in for this.
Yeah.
I honestly, you talk about Zach LaVine. I can't tell you one dunk he made. I can't even remember it. I can't remember it.
He did a free throw line dunk.
Look, I remember the Aaron Gordon with the mascot when he jumped over with 2 legs and went under the
I remember that. I remember Nate Robinson. I remember Dwight. I remember a lot of these years are blurred to me. That's what I'm saying. Like to nothing really.
Nate went like 2, 3 years.
Yeah, but I'm saying
that happens with age, right? Like and
no
shot of us being 38. I'm just saying that happens.
That was a shot.
I'm saying when there's
we on the same page. It's like
there.
It was just the fact that once you've seen a few of them, it's like they kind of all get clumped together. That's why you got to go through the highlights and the compilation and say, "Oh damn, yeah, I remember." And then you get that.
But I also think the person doing the dunk stands out to more to me than the dunk itself.
Somewhat, but I also think
if LeBron goes out there and do a dunk, I'm gonna remember LeBron dunking. I remember Jordan dunking. I remember
how did Kobe win?
I remember
the free throw line.
He did the free throw line, and he did a windmill.
It was a step in the free throw line. He did it between his legs.
Yeah, it was winning. But I remember Tracy. I remember Vince. I remember I
don't remember Tracy.
Tracy was in
Tracy was with Vince. See, I was going to bring this up, and I got sidetracked. That's my personal favorite one because that was the second part of this All-Star of being an All-Star, right? You had your marquee guy, right? And then you had other players that, hey, it brought a new that's why they changed it to Rising Star. Remember they went through the Rising Star era, right? Because it's supposed to highlight people that you might not have seen to go along with the name guys or whatever. Where did I fall in love with Tracy? It was then. I was like, who is this Toronto dude? Because he actually competed with Vince Carter and Steve Francis when that. So that dunk contest gave you the greatest dunker of all time. The small guy dunking because he always had to catch the lob joints or whatever and then slam it home. And the Tracy came out of pretty much nowhere, and he was doing a lot of two-hand power dunks like similar to Dominique Wilkins. So personally, that was my favorite because I got you pretty much got your fill of what you want out of a dunker in that particular competition. It was all three of them going down to the wire.
Yeah, I still think that year.
I disagree with that.
With Dwight Howard,
it wasn't all three going down to the wire.
It was. Tracy missed one of his last dunks, and it was Steve Francis, and it was Vince Carter. And yes, we knew Vince Carter was going to win, but Steve Francis kept you captivated. That's what it was. He kept you captivated. Now you forget about it now because it was what Vince Carter is. You get
I'm not saying that.
I don't think type of situation. But yes, if you was going through that, because I used to record, and that was the thing I recorded all All-Star weekends back when I was a youngster. Tracy was putting on a show, and then Steve Francis, he's the one that lasted the longest, but Vince was just that dude. So all his dunks were straight 50s. That's all.
I put it like this. I don't think it had the back and forth of Gordon Levine 2016. That's what I'm comparing it to. I think
because one was
Vince was
perfect and everyone else was. I can't get the same effect because what I'm watching is Vince Carter in his aura.
Okay, and that's fine. But even Levine and Gordon went back and
If you watch
forth.
Steve Francis' dunks, they was probably worth 50s in any other competition.
My
It's just
only point is
the judges knew that I have to reserve a 50 for Vince Carter.
Okay,
So I'm not going to
give him out so willy nilly.
I'm not going to give it to you.
Like you said they were basically fighting for second place because it was basically Vince Carter and everyone else. My point is, when it was Gordon Levine, there are still people to this day think that Aaron Gordon should have won because it was so back and forth.
That's true. But you didn't
have
have
a
a
star it was more back and
like
forth.
Vince.
Aaron Gordon was correct. You didn't have a star. I give you that. And so you had, I don't want to even say up and comers because I think Zach LaVine was more of a high flyer, but you didn't really know about Aaron Gordon until that weekend. He was in Orlando.
That's
he was fourth overall draft pick.
It was a better competition
really
because you had
weekend.
lower, lesser names just performing. I agree with that.
That's right.
That's part of the problem, in my opinion. Who cares about? I want to know some stars, and I think that's part of the problem.
I kind of go back and forth because, like I said, Gordon Levine wasn't with stars, and it was great. It was phenomenal, in my opinion. So I think you have to have the right people, but you have to have people that have been in the league. Like you have to see them win a dunk competition, and then go be able to say, "I went and saw them play live on a Wednesday night because they came to my city."
And that's fine, but look. Let's take this all the way back to the conversation we had earlier. So we got guys who not even in the All-Star team, not voted as an All-Star, playing on All-Star Saturday night, dunking and shooting threes and doing all kinds of stuff. But you got a problem with USA versus the world? That's my problem with you. You've been hypocritical.
I'm being hypocritical by saying it. I said it may work for a short period of time. I said it may work for a short, but I said you created an all-star. You created someone that they wanted to see. When you're talking about USA versus the
never
world,
made no all-star team in his whole life.
He made one. He made one afterwards.
It's probably some reserve at some point.
See, that one matters. You said it didn't matter. That one matters.
Look, Norman Powell doesn't matter because it's not that. That's what I said.
Let's move on. You're a hypocrite, boy. I tell you, you're a hypocrite.
They don't even matter. Like it's two different conversations.
Yeah. So let's talk about some NBA. We're getting into the second half of the season. There is a game tomorrow night because of a makeup game from the LA Fires. I think the Lakers play on Wednesday night. They start off that second half of the season. Luka Doncic in LA, 32-20 for the Lakers right now, sitting at the number 5 spot in the Western Conference. That's very interesting to see how they finish out the rest of the season. But atop the East, you got 44-10, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Top the West, the 44-10 Oklahoma City Thunder. Boston Celtics have eclipsed the total losses they had all of last year. They have 16 losses. The New York Knicks have 18, sitting at the number 3 spot. And then the Indiana Pacers sitting at number 4 right now. Very interesting how this Eastern Conference is going to turn out. But more competitively is that Western Conference. If you look at teams 4 through what? 8, 9, like they right there. It's not that big of a gap. One bad week can put you in the play-in. One bad week can knock you out of the playoffs all the way together. What's your big storyline heading into the second half of the season? Calvin, I'll start with you.
One in the East is, one in the West is Phoenix. Like Phoenix being 26-20, sitting outside the play-in tournament at this point, at the unofficial halfway point, is something that I did not imagine. With the team with Kevin Durant, a team with Devin Booker, just not being able to win barely not even more than half their ball games, it's something that really sticks out to me. And I expected so much more of this team. I know we heard about the Kevin Durant trade rumors, so I fully expect him to not be in Phoenix next year. But I think that I still expect him to make the playoffs and even to make the playoffs, not even to play in this year. So surprisingly, that's just a team that's just been so up and down, so many different issues, so many internal issues, coaches going in and out. I'm really surprised by Phoenix. And in the East, Indiana's kind of resurged. Like I remember just them being bottom of the barrel to start the year, and they've really come on board late to get that fourth seed right now. And going to Philly was interesting because Embiid talks about needing additional knee surgery, maybe being out extended period of time. He shouldn't have played in the Olympics. We had that conversation. But you're also now in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes because you keep your pick if it's top. I think it's 6-8 protected. So do you have reason to try to keep that pick and potentially start the rebuild over with Maxey and Cooper Flag next year and get rid of Embiid and Paul George? You have options if you're Philly. It will be interesting to see how they end the season. Do you try to go for it, try to make the play in, try to upset Cleveland and Boston in the East, or do you just kind of say we're going to roll over, we're going to try to get this number one seed into this Cooper Flag sweepstakes and potentially rebuild the process again with Cooper Flag and Tyrese Maxey? So that's where I'm going with those.
Um, One, I am interested in seeing if how the Cleveland All Stars do after All Star break. Um, a lot of times the All Star break can disrupt chemistry. I hope I actually hope that it does happen, but it could happen in Cleveland. And one like you said, if they uh, first couple weeks out the gate start losing more than what you're winning, that gap can be closed very quickly from Boston or New York. So for New York, because I'm a New York fan, we got Mitchell Robinson supposed to be coming back. I guess he's coming back. They keep pushing him back month after month, but in March he's supposed to be coming back. And I would like to see how we look with a defensive center to go along with Cat. That's not named Rudy Gobert. So that's personally what I'm interested in. Three, I am keeping an eye out for Detroit. Detroit has been blazing the path this year. Shout out to Detroit and what they're doing. It's looking very, very, very well without Monty. I don't know what the dynamic was with Monty Williams over there, but it seemed like they're playing much, much better without him. Shout out to Monty and whatever his endeavors are right now. And the most important thing, the most exciting thing is the Western Conference because that play-in tournament range, even from 7 to 12. I think that's where we at with that. I might even throw in 6 to 12. So you got 6 teams or whatever vying for just a couple playoff spots, and that's what's really entertaining. We're gonna really see who pans out throughout this last playoff push, like LeBron set out the All Star Game for, without letting nobody know. So yeah, that's what I'm actually looking forward towards. I still hope I'm hoping I would love to see Wemby in the playoffs. I'm pulling for him. So I do see. Let's say I see Sacramento falling out of there, at least to get to the play-in. Let's say that Sacramento's out of there. If Dallas don't get AD back, Dallas is out of there. So they're gonna need AD back, and they're gonna need a positive AD like he was for those 3 strong quarters he was given, and then AD happened. So that's something that I'm also looking at, and we just see how this thing pan out. We're gonna check in week in, week out.
All right, so who was your first half MVP? Who was the most valuable player, most outstanding player, however you want to phrase it, for the first half of the NBA season? Calvin, who's your half?
I got Shea. I think he should have won it last year. I think he's been leading that team to even greater heights. With the Isaiah Hartenstein injury, with the Chet injury, he's been the best player on that team and best player in the league throughout the first half, leading them to a tie for the best record. So I would have Shea right now.
Justin, who was your first half MVP?
It is clearly Shea, but personally, I'm gonna throw Cat out there. I'm going with Shea, but I gotta give Cat some love because I really thought that he was gonna come, and I knew it was gonna fit, but I didn't know that he was gonna fit within that team, within that philosophy, within that style, as seamless as he actually made it. Coming from being one star and one like being the guy to coming over to being with the Jalen Brunson culture that's being created, and for him to still dominate, he's been playing very active on the boards and things like that. I was surprised in that. So that's my personal MVP. But the league is no question Shea.
Yeah, if you just purely off of because of what he's done on the court leads to team success as well. I gotta go with Shea as well. But be honest with you, if you just want to look at numbers, and we are numbers type people, man, keep your eye on that guy, the big fella. You gotta keep your eye on that guy, man. You're averaging 29.8, so about 30 points a game, 12.6 rebounds, and 10.2 assists, almost 2 steals and a block a game. That is sensational, man. And his team is right there. It's not like they getting like tied for basically, the second place in the Western Conference. One of the best records in the league.
If Shea doesn't make it close, if that record doesn't get close, I think it's Shea's. But the problem is, we kind of see it's going to get closer. And to say that I'm 10 games better than you, that's different. I'm 10 games better than you, and I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah, to say that I'm three games better than you, and your stats is like that, that's a lot tougher to sell.
But you don't. I mean, if you're saying that 3 games better, I still say, well, Shea did it with his number 2 missing most of the year, and even their big man, their center, missing the first 20-30 games as well. Chet.
Chet is not their number 2.
Who's their number 2?
Harkenstein.
It's 2 by committee.
No, when Chet was playing, he was clearly the second best player on the court.
I said that last year.
When Chet is playing, he's clearly the next. When Chet is playing, he's the second best player on the court.
Did he have another All-Star?
When Chet is playing, second best player on the court, he played 8 games.
Jalen Williams was you act like he a scrub or something.
I didn't say he was a scrub.
All right,
was he that All-Star?
He's an All-Star.
No, he wasn't. He was a replacement.
Statistically, I mean, if I go by All-Stars, he's their second best player because he's an All-Star. Chet didn't make no damn All-Star team last year or this year.
He played 8 games.
He ain't gonna make it next year.
He played 8 games.
I'm not disrespecting nobody on your team. I know you're a big OKC Thunder fan, so I'll leave it alone. My point is, hey guys,
like he's saying Chet was rookie of the year.
Right now, they're 44-10. That's nothing to sneeze at. So they got basically almost a 9-game lead in the loss column over Denver. If they allow Denver to come close or surpass them, and Jokic keep putting up numbers like this, he's going to win the MVP
again.
Can
Denver worry about surpassing Memphis first? Because I like Memphis more.
It's only one game, yo.
No, I'm just saying I like Memphis more than Denver. Even. I like Memphis more than Denver. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but nobody on
Jokic has been so MVP. Good. He made Russell a great player again.
That's a hell of a point. You're making points.
I would say he made him good, and I think Jamal Murray helped him as well.
He made him great again.
I'm gonna give Jamal Murray credit.
Make Russ great again. That's what he did.
Damn sure wasn't great in LA.
Jokic is averaging
wasting my cap space.
Damn near 11 assists a game. I think he plays a part in that, Calvin. I'm sorry.
I didn't say he didn't. I'm just showing love to Jamal Murray as well, because he's often overlooked. So I gotta show love to Jamal Murray.
I'm not disrespecting Jamal.
You know where he wouldn't be overlooked? USA versus World. He can really show out there. But you don't want him in the game.
He'd be behind Shea.
You don't want him in the game.
You don't even want him featured. You love him that
behind
much.
Dylan Brooks. I'm taking a step too far.
Dylan Brooks, stop it.
Stop playing. He knew that.
Anyway, all right, so it'll be interesting to watch that down the stretch. Let's talk some professional wrestling. That's right. We are wrestling fans around here, and it is WrestleMania season. If you all are not wrestling fans, get with it. We've been all fans since we were youngsters, off and on. You know how it goes. As you get a little older, you stray away. But I've always kept my eye on the world of professional wrestling. I remember when I was at Morgan and I found out that Justin and Andrew was wrestling fans, and it was like, okay, I didn't know.
Shout out to the boy King. We talk maps.
To what extent they were wrestling fans, and then we went to me and Andrew we went to a couple of matches. I remember I used to have wrestling in my house. He used to have wrestling in his house, and y'all used to come over. Justin, I remember where did we go that time? Where did we go that time? Anyway, we wrestling fans. It is what it is. We've been wrestling fans a while, and I had got out of watching wrestling for a little while.
That's the 38 age kicking in.
I think this was 2005, I want to say. It was around the time Evolution. Maybe that was 2004. Evolution had with Randy Orton, uh, Batista, Ric Flair, and
Triple H.
Triple H were a team, and I had really stopped watching for a little while there, and really didn't know what was. And we went to a wrestling match, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back into it because I honestly had stopped watching for maybe like a year. I think Austin had left.
I think it leads you to take breaks. Sometimes you just gotta take breaks.
Yeah.
Whether I
Yeah.
know with King, he was an avid fan, and then just Vince and his the way he carries his company, the way he carried himself, he had to take a pause from it. And then once Vince left, he came back within the love of it again. For me myself, once you get that certain age, I got to like 20 something, early 20s. I was way too much going on to me to catch up with it. And then it was like, it was the Cena, like that whole Cena era. I was there for portions of it, but it didn't keep me into it the whole entire time. I mean, you can't do this the entire time. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What about you, Cal?
I think that's the issue with like coming from the Attitude Era and remembering that era, remembering the star power, and just remembering how mid-card wrestlers were always put over by the fans. I was watching the video, I think like last week, just people a comment saying, look, Scotty 2 Hotty was put over by the fans. He wasn't a great wrestler, but he was a great performer. And whenever he did his spick, it was amazing. And you don't have that anymore. And then it just kind of got repetitive and boring with the storyline. You just kind of got seeing the same thing over and over. So I kind of went away from it like early 2010s, shortly after The Rock and Cena had their little back and forth within that WrestleMania. But
who was that breathing into the mic like that?
He irked me when he said Scotty Too Hotty just there. Like that was his reference point with Scotty Too Hotty. Like,
I was saying how he was put over like as a mid Carter.
That was your thing, yo. You was sitting back like he about to do it. He about to do it. Come on, it was a great example.
No way.
He got you hot.
All right, let's move on. So currently today, the WWE champion is Cody Rhodes. He was able to do his 2-year story arc coming back from AEW. He went and won the Royal Rumble, faced Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, was defeated when everybody thought, oh, he's going to win. He's going to finish the story. He lost. And then he had a whole year storyline building up to get his rematch versus Roman. Last year at WrestleMania, Cody wins the title, and he's held the title all year long. So now, and the WWE is experiencing some of the best business they've ever done, selling out shows left and right, big stadium shows all over the world. They're not just a United States company. They're global. A lot of the premium live events, they call them now, not pay-per-views, are now on Peacock monthly, and they're coming from France, from Europe. This month, they're going to be in Toronto for Elimination Chamber, which is going to feature 6 guys vying for a chance to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Damian Priest, Logan Paul, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, John Cena, and Seth Rollins all qualified. John Cena was gifted the spot because he basically declared. And rumors are basically that it's going to be Cody Rhodes and John Cena at WrestleMania. This is John Cena's final year as a competitor. He's looking to go out on top. And he said at the end of this year, he will retire. Do you all think that Cena will win the title at WrestleMania and then drop it later on in the year? Justin, what's your thoughts?
One, if he likes Scotty Too Hotty, I know he loved Cody. So let's just get that aside. 2, no, I do not think he's going to win the Elimination Chamber. I think that's
wait.
There's
You don't think he's going to win the Elimination Chamber, or you think he's going to lose the WrestleMania?
No, I don't think he's going to win the Elimination Chamber.
Okay, who you got?
I think you got to shake some things up, and I would love to see CM Punk carry that relationship with Cody through WrestleMania. I think that's a better story to tell because CM Punk he can play multiple roles within this whole thing. He can play the hey, you was my apprentice type of vibe. He can play all against me. And it's multiple strings he can pull from. When you bring in John Cena, I gotta listen to who's the better crowd guy versus the kid guy with Cody and John Cena for the next month and a half to 2 months. I'm not trying to see all that. There's nothing there. Yes, Cena, woo, yeah, you can't see me. Remember when Rock did it? And then you got Cody with the whoa. That's all I'm gonna hear for 2 months. I don't want to hear that. I don't think there's nothing there. I don't think there's not enough meat on that potatoes type of thing for this to carry for that long. So I don't like it. I really don't like it. And it's too obvious to me. So I think the wrench in would be to have CM Punk carry the thing, but who knows? Yeah, so that's my thing. I think it'd be CM Punk.
What you
So
think,
you
Calvin?
think the rumors of the triple threat match are, you hope they're false, or you don't?
They're rumors for a reason.
Okay.
So far it's true though, because you got Jay and Gunther, but clearly we saw that coming.
Yeah.
I honestly think that they're going to go with Punk, Seth, and Roman. I don't see them veering from
Seth
that.
and Roman can carry it by themselves. That's what I'm saying. You don't need a third guy for that.
But I think the story they're trying to build is those are the three guys. Remember, if you go back years ago, originally the Shield was supposed to be CM Punk's group.
CM Punk with the Shield.
Yeah, and he was going to be the leader, and he kind of took shots at them when he was at AEW. They didn't want him to come back to the company. That was the rumor. Remember when AEW fired CM Punk, if you didn't know this, Punk actually had to go and meet with Seth, had to meet with Roman, and get the okay from them for WWE to hire them to come back. And there's always this underlying tension because Seth really, the storyline with Seth and Punk, a lot of that's real. Like Seth really don't like him because when Punk was in AEW, he was taking shots at them left and right, talking about how they couldn't even carry his jock strap. They only on top now because he left and yada yada yada. And they really took offense to that. And remember, Roman was not always the guy he is now.
Correct.
He was the chosen one that was falling flat. And it's just a lot of the people who are inside kind of, I think that match.
It if Dean Ambrose shows up, if Moxley shows up.
That would be the ultimate finisher. But again,
his contract is up, right?
Nah, he's a champion over there. He ain't going nowhere.
Okay.
He ain't going nowhere. Yeah, but anyway, I do think that's something I would do one-on-one, me personally. I would do Punk versus Roman head up.
And you need to finish that storyline with why he was on that team of Survivor Series. You need to bring that full circle. That's the story.
Paul Heyman created that deal. The deal was, but the only way to me that story works if that's for the title. Just doing a random three-way
title thing.
You know what I mean? That's why I was kind of shocked that Cody didn't lose the belt at some point. Get it on to like a Kevin Owens, or Cody could have lost that title at Royal Rumble. Get it on Kevin Owens, and then somebody else could have beat him at Elimination Chamber to transition to that. I get what you're saying about Cody versus Cena is kind of vanilla, but it's a lot of these fans are Cena fans, man. A lot of these younger people who are now a little older, they spend money. That they grew up with Cena. He's their Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? He's their Rock. He's their Austin. So to send him out on his final WrestleMania.
But you got a whole year. You don't have to rush it now, because if you do that now, what's the storyline with him for the rest of the year?
But I think that's the key. I think Cody beats him. I think Cody beats him at SummerSlam. I mean, at WrestleMania, and maybe something happens where he gets a rematch later.
Oh God, no! You mean tell me I'm gonna have to live with the fact that Cody beat Brock, Cody beat Roman, and now a WrestleMania John Cena?
What's your beef with Cody?
Yeah, he don't like. Yeah, you really taking shots at Cody
What's your
now.
beef with Cody? I love Cody Rhodes. That's I know Cody. I know that guy. That's a good guy.
I joke about it. I joke about it with King all the time. It's one reason why I like Cody. Whoa! As soon as I hear the crowd say that I am done with Cody, he can go after that.
Come on, man. Cody a hard worker. Cody
the
worked
only
his way
person
up.
that takes 5 finishes to finish his matches. I'm done. He's not the guy. He's not the guy for that title.
He's been the guy for almost a year.
He's the guy. He sells tickets.
He's only the guy because the crowd foolishly and stupidly did not want
the guy
Rock
because of
versus
AEW.
Roman. That's what we should have had. We should have had Rock Roman.
We're still going to have Rock Roman. And we would have Rock Roman this year if Rock would hurry up and get his schedule together. But Rock,
we won't have that
schedule together last year.
It's going to be at SummerSlam.
Well, the fans wanted what they wanted. And you got to go with the fans because if we're going to talk about fans, we'll come back to that. Nobody has benefited more from the fans than this guy right here on the right side of the screen. And that guy's name is Jey Uso. Jey Uso is the pure definition. Sami Zayn 2 years ago had the same type of thing. The fans was fully behind Sami with that bloodline storyline, and they had an opportunity to make Sami into a superstar. He could have beat Roman Reigns in Montreal at Elimination Chamber 2 years ago, and they decided, nope, we're going to stick with our story. Roman wins. Sami's never been the same ever since. But they have gone all the way with Jey Uso. If you have been watching WWE since 2020, this has been a almost 5-year story arc to become the true main event Jey Uso. If you really go back to 2020 when Roman became a heel and Jey had to turn into the he declared him as the tribal chief and he choked him out and choked his brother out and Roman made him now put the thing around my neck. And that's when the whole bloodline storyline began. To that point to now, Jey has earned the respect of the audience, and now he's made himself. If you can say the whole thing about the whoa, what you gonna say about the yeet, yeet, yeet? Because I had no clue what yeet is, to be honest with you. And then this man just turned it into something popular. Calvin, what's your thoughts on main event Jey Uso?
It's time. It's time. For everyone that doubted after Royal Rumble, the prophecy will be fulfilled in WrestleMania. It's time. I'm upset that they had him lose to Gunther just to have a rematch at WrestleMania. It doesn't add to the storyline to me yet because they haven't built up to it, but they have a little bit of time. But it's time. To me, he's on the same level as Daniel Bryan was. What was that, WrestleMania 35? 30. It's that same fan fest, that same push. It's the same Kofi Kingston push to have him beat Daniel Bryan, a year later. So that's what it is, and I'm glad that they actually listen to the people. I just wish it wouldn't have been a rematch with Gunther. However, I think it's time. That's all. I'll leave it at that.
But you wanted him to beat Cody?
I think this is.
You don't like Cody anyways. What difference do it make?
I'm just asking.
I think it would have been fresher had he not lost to Gunther, but I think it adds to the story that he lost to
Gunther. When you say it don't add to the story, Kevin, I was like, yo, it's a part of it.
But no. My point is they haven't. My point is you could have slow walked it back to that story, but however, having him lose 2 months ago to him?
Yeah, they could have done it 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was too recent in my opinion. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you should be within the title frame. You don't want to get out the title picture for an extended period of time and then bum rush your way back in. So he's still within that range of even having his own rematch.
When was the last time he won a singles match at a pay-per-view?
Jay? That's tough because they don't really do a lot of pay-per-views like that. He does tag
for single matches like that.
Yeah, he been in 6-mans. He was in War Games. Yeah. He was in, you know what I mean? It's kind of tough if you judge like that.
I mean, you want to say he beat his brother last year. I didn't think he wanted something. I forgot SummerSlam then.
Yeah, I think SummerSlam. His match with Who was it? I can look it up. Go ahead, but finish your point.
But look, this is the thing. The whole yeet thing. Well, yeet comes from it was supposed to be just yeet, YEE, and that was just something that they say after every so often. It was just like just a regular language thing that they have or whatever. It's just that he started to kind of say it, and then the crowd kind of picked up on it. So the crowd added the T to it. So that's where yeet came from. But he realized that was a thing. He realized that this was homegrown. And he's taking full advantage of it. Am I a fan of Jey Uso? I'm a fan of Jey Uso. I don't have a problem with Jey Uso going after. See, in my opinion, and I had to get some research behind it. I had to listen to a few here. Shout out to King on this one, but I agree with the statement that all titles aren't the same. I don't think this title is the same as the title that Cody has.
No,
there's certain people that hold certain titles, and I respect certain people. So the game changes. The undisputed guys, don't matter what high and fly by type of guy goes through. It's certain generational talents that should have that belt. That's Roman's belt. Roman can sell it without even having a belt. Like, he's a generational guy. That's his belt. Cody's just borrowing it for a period of time. So I don't want Jay to have that belt. I really don't. This belt right here, this championship belt, this Damian Priest had it. Now Gunther has it. Now Jay's hopefully gets it. That's something that I can see going through all that. This is the title that Cody should have been fighting for, in my opinion. Not that title. Not that title. I just have issues with that. But that's why I said for this particular title, the heavyweight championship, is Jay's to have. Is Jay's to have for is hopefully he have for a stretch. But not everyone should have the belt for a goddamn year, 2 years.
I agree with that.
Have it for a couple months, and then
there's nothing wrong with a short reign.
Let's see what's going on with it.
The attitude era, people will hold the title a month or two and be fine. Sometimes a month. You know what I mean?
Kane had it for 24 hours.
Yeah, it's true.
Not even.
It happens.
Like it happens, man. Let's move it, keep it moving, keep it fresh, keep it exciting. I like change the title on Raw sometime or SmackDown, make you want to tune in. You never know what's going to happen.
You can't do it every time because then you turn into
but once in a while.
Mercedes Moné. You don't want that.
Stop playing my girl.
But you should be pissed off. She only won the damn thing on Raw. Charlotte was the one that was
then lose
on
it. She never could defend it. She could never defend the title. That was the sad part. But the Roman and Rock story, they appear to be putting that off again due to Rock's schedule. They appear to have dropped the storyline with Cody Rhodes. I think there could have been a more creative way to do these things, and that's my issue with current day. Some of the plans just seem too long term and not enough fluidity to it because you're dealing with people's schedules and yada yada yada. What do you think about Roman Rock? Eventually, I think it'll be the biggest matchup they can do, but Rock only getting older. How long can you keep kicking this can down the road?
That's the problem. You could have had this match 2 years ago. You could have had this match last year. You keep kicking the can down the road. It's only going to be a point where Rock gets older and the match doesn't live up to the hype, because at this point it's just building on hype. And at this point, I think you need to have the match as soon as possible versus waiting for WrestleMania. So that means you can have it this year at SummerSlam. That should be the route you go instead of trying to wait a year for WrestleMania. You built up this storyline to have The Rock come out on the first Raw on Netflix and kind of bury it and have everyone asking what the hell is going on. And now you have to redo it all over again to an extent. And I agree with you. That's the problem with the long-term storytelling. But if you weren't going to have it at WrestleMania, you did not have to address it previously. Now everyone knows that it's not going to take place. And like you said, Rock is only going to get older. And this is the match that everyone wants to see. But you can't just have this as a one-off match. It still has to be built up. It still has to have an ending at some point. But at what point does it just not happen? And that's what I'm scared to happen. Because I understand you want this on your main stage, you want on WrestleMania, but you need to have this on pay-per-view, period, and not worry about trying to build up to it at a WrestleMania, because you're talking about long-term storytelling. And obviously, The Rock, it's on his priority list, but it's not one or two.
Not the top.
It's not one or two, because he knew about this last year.
Well, no. Here's the thing: people keep talking about that year that Cody He was supposed to do it the year before Cody even came into a play. That was the problem. They kicked it to the
that
next
was 2
year.
years ago in LA. Yeah.
3 years ago. He was supposed to do it in Dallas.
I thought 2 years ago.
He was supposed to do it in Dallas, and he kicked it down the road. And remember, then the next year is when they wanted to do it, but Cody was hot, and it was like, why would we cut that momentum for Cody? Because the fans are actually behind him, and that's the problem when you got somebody who's rarely there, and you just assume you're just going to plug him in there. And then they did the whole thing where Cody won the Rumble and then decided, oh, he don't want to challenge Roman for the title, when everybody knew that was the natural story. And then they had to backtrack on it and then put him in there. That's when you get
ended up working
into trouble
to an extent.
It worked, but you muddied the water for no apparent reason. And then you created a storyline with Rock and Cody, where Rock picked Cody last year in the tag match on night one. And now he's not even going to want to face him this year. You had them shake hands and hug a couple weeks ago on Netflix, like nothing ever happened. And you it like wasn't in the storyline. That to me is all on the Rock. And he has to hold some of this because if you all know, Rock is part owner of the company now, and he's on the board of directors, and he has creative control over anything he does. So that was his stupidity and his selfishness, and I really dislike how it kind of muddied the waters and made everything feel like second rate. What's your thoughts, Justin?
I blame the fans.
You sound like a heel.
If y'all didn't get behind Cody as much as y'all did, we would have had this thing last year, and it would have been over. The Rock would have went off in the sunset.
Over.
Roman would have been Roman, and order would have been restored amongst the WWE. And now the WWE is in utter chaos because the fans don't know how to understand who should be going for what and who time is it at that particular point. That's my problem. You went through a whole 2-year arc with Cody Rhodes for what reason? Why? Because everybody's waiting for him to turn any goddamn way. If y'all know the story of y'all watched The Boys, I don't know if y'all watched that or not. There's a character called Homelander. Basically, he's everything Superman is not. If you want Superman is the high prestige and all it Homelander is same powers, just he's a scumbag at the end of the day. So I'm waiting for Cody to turn villain and turn heel, I should say, and be just like Homelander. Y'all are unappreciative. I'd rather that arc from, and it felt like they was going that route when they was in that stadium where it was him and Roman, and they was talking back and forth. They made a whole production out of it.
Down in Georgia.
Look at that. Down in Georgia. When you look at that whole thing when it was going, when it shifted to Cody, listen to the music. The music was turning very villainous. It wasn't like high prestige. You know, you could play with music all different kinds of ways. It was an ominous type of vibe to it. I was like, here it go. They're going to make the change, and they didn't. They keep. I don't know. You talking about
they keep that
can down along.
They good. They was a tag team when that happened. Remember? So they was becoming them. And they was trying to make it so
low blowed them or something. It should have been right then and there on top of it.
But I think they really got high hopes for Jacob Fatu, and I think he's going to be the one that faces Roman at some point, and it's going to be a mega match. Go ahead.
That is true. I agree with that. I would love to see that. But this whole long-term story, that's just an excuse. That's a smart way to say, I'm going to put you on the back burner, and when I get back around to you, I'm going to get back around to you. That's all it is. Shout out to the New Day. When I feel like bringing you back to actually wrestle, then that's when you're going to do it. Until then, I'm going to throw a little shot so we won't forget about you. It's a nice little thing, but it's still the same thing. I'm going to put you on the back burner, and I might bring you back later.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a lot more to talk about in a couple of weeks leading up to WrestleMania. But before we get out of here, we got to talk some NFL free agency before we run down the door. And then one thing I did want to do, and just a quick exercise, I was thinking about this today, and that is we got some NFL free agents that should be very interesting to track. Now, we all three of us have our favorite teams, and Calvin, your favorite team is the Cowboys. You can say you're a Ravens fan all you want, but I know where your heart really lies. Justin, your favorite team is the Buccaneers, and then I have the Baltimore Ravens. If you look at the roster for your individual favorite teams, What is the biggest area of need you would say? Calvin, if I ask you, what is the number one area of need for the Dallas Cowboys right now? What you think?
Ownership. I don't see that on there.
I was going to say GM, but offensive lineman, defense, running back.
Number one.
Offensive line.
Okay. So offensive lineman available this year. All right. What you think? Out of the available offensive linemen, do you think any of these three guys?
No.
Like seriously?
No.
Like you wouldn't like
no.
when
I'm
you
not
say
taking
offensive
Stanley.
lineman.
I'm not taking Stanley.
Trey Smith, the number one guard on the board. You wouldn't put him out.
I would. I think he gets franchised, but yes, I would take Trey Smith from Kansas City Chiefs. I think he gets franchised though.
Do you think he gets franchised? But let's just say for the sake of the exercise, put Trey Smith on the Cowboys. Justin, what's your number one need down there in Tampa Bay?
Quarterback.
No, don't be disrespectful. D-line.
All right. Let's go to D-line. All right. Any of these two?
You should have put Myles Garrett up there.
He's not. He
has
has to trade
for him.
Okay.
So would you think that they should make the move for Hassan Reddick or Josh Sweat? What you think?
I'll take Sweat. Paul. I think I strongly think they should make that move if they can. If we can't get a package together, pause for Myles Garrett, then I will go with Sweat.
All right, for the Baltimore Ravens, I think their number one area of need, and I know this might be a tad bit controversial because
I don't see tight end on that list.
You be losing Ronnie Stanley, so a lot of because I do think you have to let him walk. I'm not a fan of his, so I let him go. But if you can, I think you do everything you can. I know this. I think you're going to get a Khalil Mack. That's my opinion. Calvin, give me another position of need for the Dallas Cowboys.
Linebacker. Why do you want Khalil Mack?
I think he can fit well with what we do. I think he rushes the passer well as the interior pressure. I think he'd be a good fit. You don't think so?
I think he doesn't play the edge against the run as good as I want him to.
I think he's better than Owe. 100%. 9 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10, he's better than Owe.
Better getting to the quarterback, yes. Setting the edge, no.
I mean, I want him to get to the quarterback. I need pressure. Who you got? Cowboys.
I'd take Nick Bolton, but I think he's going to price himself out. I'm taking all the former Chiefs.
So you want some Chiefs. What's your next position in need, Justin?
Easy.
Quarterback now?
Chris Godwin.
He's bringing them back home. Okay.
Got to.
All right. For the Baltimore Ravens, and this is, of course, perfect world scenario. I don't think he'll be available, but I would go out and get a Chardavius Ward. I think having another cornerback, somebody who can play strong, who can really track the football, I think, and he's not that. I don't think he's going to be that expensive. What you think, Calvin?
I think he's going to be expensive. I think he wants a payday. I know he had the comments about playing in San Francisco brings back bad memories due to his personal situation, but I think he gets more money than the Ravens could pay him. I monitor. He's not what he was, but I monitor the Jair Alexander situation and see if he gets cut and can he come somewhere and.
Yeah, but he's not a free agent right now.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's what I would do. Yeah. I don't think I think Jadarius Ward's going to get more money than the Ravens can offer him. So, all
right, what's your next position in need in Dallas? Y'all need nobody running.
I was going to say corner. I was going to say corner next. I think running back is probably in the draft. I don't want to do receiver. And we go D line. I think it's a shot at Hassan Reddick. I think when he's paid, he's he's a
Happy.
little bit more focused. So
Justin, what y'all need down there in Tampa?
Easy. Levante David.
Y'all bring him back.
Look, man, they do a good job. Jason Light has done a good job of, if you're a buck, you be a buck for life. And they really stressed that. And we showed it with Mike Evans, and we're going to try to keep it showing it with the other two. Not everybody gets that, though. Not
All
even
right.
Baker.
If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, and I mean this, I'll go out and get Keenan Allen.
Over Diggs?
Hell yeah.
hey, I'm not signing Diggs.
I'm not signing Diggs.
I'm not
I think
signing
Keenan
Diggs.
Allen at that point will be a good luxury possession receiver. I think it's time to let Nelly walk.
You got to overpay him, though.
You think so?
Well, I heard the rumor he only wants to go play for Chicago or the Chargers. So
Only?
yes.
Interesting. So he wouldn't want to play with Lamar Jackson.
He said he wants to stay in Chicago or go back to LA.
For it's a living situation type of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what he meant, but yeah.
All right, last one. Calvin.
Yeah.
Cowboys, what's your last position in need?
I'll say Diggs. I'll say wide receiver.
Okay.
But I don't, because you can't sign Higgins. Well, I don't think you have the money to sign Higgins. I think Amari Cooper resigns in Buffalo. I'll say Diggs. I think he wants to prove it on 1 year deal. He wants to prove that he has one more slight payday in him. He's going to be focused. He won't come in the camp ready to go.
Justin, who do you think? What's your position in need in Tampa?
Rodgers on the board.
You're right. He is.
Y'all need corner?
Let's go with DB. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever the best available.
All right, you got Byron Murphy for the Vikings. He was pretty good this year. You got yeah, that's why I stayed DJ Reader for the Jets. You got
I go with that. I go with DJ.
Okay. All right, not bad. And if I'm the Ravens, like I think
go if you want to,
no, I don't want that bum. If you're serious about moving the safeties back and all that kind of stuff,
I thought Darius Ward played safety.
That's what I mean. If you're serious about moving the safeties back, I think that's a good pickup. As far as just because Ben Cleveland, I mean, what's his name? Zeitler is a free agent. You heard about that? You think Detroit going to bring him back?
I think it's a money situation. I don't know Detroit's cap situation.
Because Ben Cleveland might be. He might definitely
gone.
He might be in trouble.
I don't know where I read it. Basically, the amount of alcohol you have to drink to get the 178 for his body composition. Like he had to have like 10 beers an hour for like 3 straight hours.
That's
or
ridiculous.
Like a liter of a 80 proof liquor or something like that. Like he was gone.
All right, I did it. I don't care. We need a linebacker.
I think he's definitely resigning.
You think he's signing with Washington?
I think
he's almost here 2 years ago. If he was here, Roquan would have been here.
He sees something in the boy.
Make a play for him, damn it. Or if you don't get him, go get Levante David. I don't care. Roquan needs some help. He needs some help, man. We can't keep carrying these bums. I'm like, man, golly, man. Need some help. Patrick Queen. Look, we did a little better, but Bobby Wagner would be a big upgrade. That would be my hope. Anyway,
no doubt.
No quarterbacks of need. We all set at quarterback. You got Dak.
I think we all set at QB.
Yeah, Baker. Running back. I thought the Cowboys might need a running back. Calvin, come on.
He said he was gonna go draft. That's why.
They fallen in love with Genty. That's the only they fallen in love with Genty from Boise State. Okay. So I think that's where they go.
All right, interesting. Well, that was fun. Just some we're gonna try to do some different mix up all year. So let's just quickly. Higgins apparently getting the franchise tag, so he should be staying in Cincinnati another year.
I think getting
You
traded.
think he'll play if they tag him?
I think he's getting traded with the tag. They just trying to get some compensation. I don't think, like, you can't tell me you're going to re-sign him, you're going to re-sign Hendrickson, and you're going to give Chase an extension. You're not doing all three of them. So I think you sign Higgins. You franchise Higgins. You trade him, try to get some draft compensation. You try to re-sign Hendrickson, and then I think they re-sign Chase at sometime between this year and next year. But I don't think T Higgins, like, if T Higgins wants $30 million, wants wide receiver one money, then how are you going to pay Chase? Now, granted, Philadelphia did it, but I think these two contracts will surpass AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. So I don't see how they do it.
Yes,
and I don't know if he stays on the franchise tag willingly as well. I mean, it's a pay bump as well, but
he didn't play last year when they tried to not pay him.
Yeah,
what you think going to do in the franchise?
Neither did Chase. He didn't play most of training camp until so
yeah. Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Jet.
Real quick. This whole thing is it. I was listening to Shannon, and I would have to agree with Shannon Sharp on this one. So credit goes to him. This is what you asked for. This is what y'all bargained for, right? This is the type of stuff when you have life insurance type deals, when you have franchise tag type options, and you chose for easier practices and one less preseason or whatever, those superficial things, which is important. I'm not an athlete of this stature, so I get it, right? But at the end of the day, I think that's the number one key. That's the most important thing, is solidifying things of that nature. When you see baseball and when you see basketball players get guaranteed type contracts and they have insurance for their life, they're good. Even when it's all said and done, they good to go, man. These players are balling. They're playing happy. Sometimes you gotta just collectively take that strike. But that's what the NFL players will not do.
If you're head of the players union and you have the ability to fight for one change, is that what you fight for? Removal of the franchise tag?
That would be at least top three. Yeah.
No, you gotta pick one.
Okay. First, the first one I will solidify lifetime insurance. I will solidify that.
Well, I didn't mean anything like that. I meant, like, just in regards to
if just take that off the table and we're arguing what's my number one point. Besides that, I think this is number two. I think the franchise tag is something that I would vehemently fight for. You gotta think baseball decided to go on strike for a World Series. Basketball said we'll get more entertainment in playing around colleges and stuff like that if y'all don't come to terms. And they did. You gotta put your foot down. We don't want to see a mediocre activity. This is not the Replacements. This is not the movie The Replacements. This is not back in the 80s and early 90s. Listen, we done seen other football leagues. We don't watch them because it's not the same level of skill. Most football fans are somewhat educated on the game. Most of them, like, yo, I know what a good receiver looks like. That guy ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So this is why we watch. So yeah, you're gonna have to make a move. It's just that it's a lot of people. It's too many people.
I think they need to get bet on fully guaranteed contracts. I think they need to. If you're going to franchise tag me, they need to be some insurances where if you tag me, I get my contract is fully guaranteed, and maybe next season I get a player option or something sort built in. Like, it got to be some type of leverage laid into there. It can't just be fully on the. If I come and I get hurt, I get all of my money and I get a player option to come back next year. You can't just say, "Oh, well, you got hurt last year, we cutting you now."
Which is why I'm so happy that Dak got that contract, because they didn't have to give Dak that money. Like, you can't expect every owner to do that.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that tried it and he failed. He got hurt.
Yeah.
And look, and
I
think
twice.
In there.
I think certain positions to get certain also running back is the most brutalized but disrespected position in all of football. Look how quickly they fall off the cliff. Like they don't have that assurance that you're going to have a long. Look at J.K. Dobbins. Look at Gus Edwards. Look at some of these guys that get those injuries and never come
You have
back.
to argue the reverse contract. They get that money up front,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the back end is iffy. Like I'm talking about even from that rookie deal. They should if quarterbacks get their own set of
they get a whole pay scale different. Mm-hmm.
That's what,
correct.
so
running back should be the same exact thing. It's just the
two
reverse.
things. Did y'all see like the Todd Gurley, Derrick Henry thing, which is crazy? How like Todd Gurley is younger than Derrick Henry, and Todd Gurley is eligible for the Hall of Fame because he's been
It's crazy.
not the league for 5 years.
That long, yeah.
And like my one thing, y'all had great ideas, and not to like reiterate what y'all said, I would say quarterback needs to be on his own salary cap because you have less
doesn't
talented,
count against the team cap.
Correct, because you have less talented quarterbacks and they're always just paid more. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, they're paid incrementally more than the highest paid quarterback, I should say, and just keeps going and going and going. And that just eats up so much of your cap space that way. If you remove that, now I have more room to pay my second wide receiver, my running back. I would remove that quarterback from and have them be in their own cap space.
I agree with that, and I think you should be able to go into the luxury tax. I like every other sport have a luxury tax.
But I think football is different because you can say Cincinnati would never win anything.
Why not?
Because they got cheap ownership.
But that's on them. That's the point.
They want to do it.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah,
that's the point. Why does the Yankees keep being successful? Why does these other teams look? Dallas Cowboys got money and don't spend it, so it's not just.
Yeah, so they wouldn't go to luxury tax. He got money,
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the regular salary cap won't spend it, so I don't get. It's not about how much money you got; it's how you spend it. I do think there should be some type of the cap should be extended for certain positions. I agree with that. Quarterback should be his own cap. So before we get out of here, Aaron Rodgers has basically been let go by the Jets. I don't know if it's official yet, but they basically told him don't come back to work.
Not picture with the Scully.
And he's no longer going to be. His services no longer needed. He's technically going to be a free agent. How would you characterize the experiment? 2 years as a New York Jet.
Can I go first, please?
Go ahead, Justin. Your Super Bowl
next
prediction.
Quarterback of the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Absolutely not. I ain't gonna lie, guys. Y'all, I said it on here. I constantly get reminded. I had high hopes. I had a theory. I had a thing that was working.
Brees Hall 2K.
When these great quarterbacks go to different teams, they normally do good. They normally do well. The great ones are the greats. They normally win.
You want to do good
at least go to the championship game. Joe Montana did it. Tom Brady clearly cashed in. Peyton Manning. Like when they switch teams, he's on that level with these guys.
You named 3 guys.
It's I'm talking about upper echelon. It's not that many of them guys.
Best of the best. Yeah.
The problem that I've seen, and it made it clear to everybody that's watching, when the great ones, when the greats of greats talk about the little things, they actually matter. The practices, the mini camps, the trying to get the guys together, which all the rest of them did, except for him. It clearly showed that you have to do these things to maintain your greatness hold on the league. And as soon as you let that go, as soon as you're thinking that you're above the team, as soon as you start thinking, I'm too good for the All-Star game, that's when it just goes from you. and you lose momentum. And I think that's what happened. And I love the fact that it happened. Not because of my predictions or anything like that. I get that, right? That's football. Nobody here really called it, right?
Nobody's perfect.
But the fact of the matter is, it showed that hard work and all that stuff that they talk about, that shit really matters, man.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think he plays that next year? Or if you think he plays next year?
It's tough. Indianapolis.
I think it's Minnesota. They're not re-signing Sam Darnold.
He gonna follow the Brett Favre.
He himself will not do that.
They not re-signing Sam.
No,
they not re-signing Sam Darnold. You give McCarthy an extra year. You still got 3 years because the first round draft pick. You got Justin. You got the arguably best receiver in the league. You got familiarity in the running back position.
For all that, just re-sign Darnold.
But I don't think they want to. I think the problem with re-signing Darnold is the money you got to pay him because he's going to get, Trevor Lawrence money.
Why not go to?
You still have McCarthy. You still have McCarthy.
Why not go to Cleveland?
If anything, he's going to a hot weather team or a dome team. He's not going outside.
Minnesota.
I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying. I won't be surprised if he end up with the Saints.
They got cat problems.
What about the Raiders, Las Vegas?
I think they're looking at Shador.
I mean, that don't mean you need to start from day one.
I mean, I agree with that, but I don't. Do I want Aaron Rodgers teaching my young quarterback?
Tom Brady want Aaron Rodgers.
I'm about to say, do I want Tom Brady over top? Do I want Tom Brady as the person that I'm trying to, somewhat beat?
I ain't even think about that.
He ain't going there. He ain't going there,
man.
I think it's Minnesota.
It might be
I would say just be done, man. He should have been done in Green Bay. That was the whole argument. That's why I never was for this move. I said, why are you playing with your legacy? You're done. You were done. I will always go back to this. I know I've said it many times on this program. They had an opportunity to make the playoffs. They had an opportunity, and he couldn't get a first down. He could not move the ball. Once he was hurt, he was hurt. Like, it was time to hang it up. But no, he had to force his way out, got to New York, and he got exactly what he wanted. He got exactly.
The problem with Aaron Rodgers is if he retires, he's no longer Aaron Rodgers. And that's his problem. I think he has to be a part of football to this degree to still be the enigma that is Aaron Rodgers. Whatever you want to call him, whatever his experiment is, whatever that is, he has to be playing for it to matter. Yeah. Once he doesn't play anymore, he gets forgotten about.
He'll still have his spot on Pat McAfee show. Pat'll have him more.
Pat might not even want him no more. I got somebody else for that spot, homeboy. You ain't playing.
Nobody wants to hear from you, Aaron. Sorry. Yeah, I just don't see it, man. Like, sorry, man, you hurt your legacy. It is what it is. That's our show for tonight. We went over a lot of stuff. We appreciate you all sticking with us a little later than normal tonight. But this was a good show, man. We tend to do that. Football season's over. We got plenty to talk about. We gonna always be able to fill a 2-hour show. Tonight we went at 2 hours and 20 minutes, just talking about everything that's going on in the world of sports and entertainment. We appreciate y'all coming along. Calvin, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, glad basketball is back, and then baseball. These last couple of days has been nothing. It's been an all-star weekend.
Yeah, well, I've enjoyed it. Justin, any final thoughts?
I just hope that this Cody experiment ends relatively soon.
Oh my God, stop hating. Anyway, folks, if you like television, I've been keeping up with some good shows here lately. It's this show called Paradise on Hulu that is really good.
I've been
watching. Yes. I
saw the previews. I've been wanting to watch. I hadn't started yet.
Yes, very good. New episode dropped yesterday. I watched it today. I was like, God, this is creative, man. Yeah, so if you're looking for a new show, check that out, man. Good show, good performances. And I always like Sterling K. Brown. He do a great job. That's all for us tonight. And hey, come back, join us next week, next Tuesday night. We're winding down the month. Black History Month is still going strong. So again, keep educating your children, keep educating yourselves. It's a crazy world out there, man. This guy, he's trying to, every day is something new. Elon Musk and these new executive orders, these changes. Calvin, I know I reached out to you about some changes, about the announcement about laying off people in these agencies and just checking to make sure all your people's good, because you never know, man. You never know what's going to happen next. Just keep everybody in thoughts and prayers, especially I was talking to Neat. She don't know stuff going on at her agency. I was talking to Kenya. They back to work. as of last week, and it's been all these changes that's going on. People getting laid off, so stay prayed up, keep your head on the swivel, and hopefully this 4 years fly by. That's all we can say. Justin, I thought you were about to say
You
something.
said keep your head on the swivel. I was thinking about all the foreigners. You definitely got to keep your head on the swivel. You never know when you get that knock. That might be the last.
And they ain't always knocking. They not always knocking. I heard they kicking indoors too. I'm like,
yes,
dang,
sir.
dog.
Running up on Home Depots.
Man, y'all need to dig your bunker. Dig your bunker. Get to work. All right, folks. We'll see you next week right here. Get off the damn fence.